In this beginner's guide, I'm going to show you how to quickly and painlessly go from early game up to owning a fief and a personal army of over 200 troops. In fact, it'll be so easy to follow even grandma would understand. I've included a checklist to make this guide easier to follow along. Click the Notion link in the description for access. I've also included timestamps to make it easier to revisit sections later and a final build with all the perk selections at the end and in the Notion page. Let's get started. For phase 1 pregame, we're going to start off with the sandbox mode. For culture, we're going to pick the Empire. Every culture gets 2 bonuses and 1 debuff. Don't worry about any of this stuff, it's really not that important, so we'll just click next. You can stylize your character however you want. I'm just going to leave mine on default. And for the settings, we've got a couple of things we got to pick here. We're going to go urban merchants towards the top. It's going to give us a point into social. We're going to pick your way with people for the next one, which gives us another point into social. Towards the bottom with your tutor, this is going to give us our first intelligence point. Stood guards with the garrison. This gives us another intelligence point. And then finally at the very bottom, you treated people well, another point into social. So you should look exactly like this before we get into the final pick, which is 40 years old. This is going to make us a little closer to dying of old age, but not to worry, we will be living until 80 or 90 because of the perks we're going to pick. This also, because we're picking an older age, we get more focus points and more attribute points. Basically just means our character is going to be more developed. Choose whatever you want. I'm just going to pick something simple here. Pick your name. I'm just going to label mine Strat just so that you know when you see it on the screen, you know exactly who it is. Now, when it comes to the difficulty setting, I've always played on Bannerlord. I do recommend playing on Bannerlord just because to me, it's more fun. But as a beginner, you can pick whatever setting you want. It basically just changes some of the basic things like how fast you move on the campaign map, how much damage you receive, things like that. But being on Bannerlord, this guide is going to be set as if you were playing on Bannerlord. So if you do an easier one, you'll have an even easier time. Now, you wouldn't send your grandma to the countryside alone, would you? And I wouldn't let mine onto the internet without backup, which is where today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, comes in handy. Surfshark encrypts our internet connection so hackers and scammers have no chance of getting to our personal info. No more worrying about fake emails or shady links. Our data stays ours. And if you think it couldn't happen to you, look at Linus Tech Tips, who almost lost his entire YouTube channel to hackers. But it's not just the protection that interested me in Surfshark. The ad blocker is amazing. You know those annoying ads that pop up when watching your favorite shows?
Here in my garage.
Gone. With Surfshark, we can block all the ads, making for a better viewing experience on our phones, tablets, computers, and even smart TVs. There's no limit to how many devices you can protect, so go wild. They've got loads of other features too, like Surfshark Antivirus to help keep your PC clean. They offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, meaning there's no risk to trying it out. You can even get 4 months free by using the code StratVPN LINK. Click on the link in the description or the pinned comment to get started. A huge thanks to Surfshark for supporting this channel, and let's get back to helping Grandma learn some Bannerlord. Moving on, we're going to start phase 2, which is the early game. So first thing we're going to do is immediately go to the nearest town, which is Danustica. So we're going to left click on that, and that'll put us in the town. Before we do any of this stuff, let's get our character sorted out. So in here in the bottom left, there's your character screen, or if you like hotkeys, it is C. So we're going to load this screen up, and you can see right here, we've got this little flashing symbol with a number 1 on it. This means that there's an available perk to pick. So you get perks based on what level you are. Every 25 levels, you will be able to pick a perk all the way up to usually 275. There's one skill tree that has up to 300, but pretty much everything is going to be 275. So right here, we get our level 25 perk. So we could either get extra renown for each tournament that we win, some morale, or we can have more chance of having kids. But really, for this guide, I would probably recommend staying away from tournaments unless you're really good from a previous game. Maybe you played Mountain Blade 1. But for the most part, I would just skip it. Let's go virile. You'll notice all the perks have tags on the bottom. So it says personal, party leader, personal, and governor. Don't worry about that too much. We'll kind of cover them as we go, but just know personal obviously means that whoever's taking that perk, it applies to only them. Party leader means they are actually leading a party. So right now, we are the only ones that can do party leader perks that are in our main party because we can't have anybody else lead the party. It has to be us. In the future, we're going to have companions run their own parties, and in that case, they can get party leader perks. And then the final thing is governor perks. perks. Do not look at governor perks for your main character because they don't activate ever. So you can't actually use these. They only work on companions that are assigned to be the governor role. So in this case, unfortunately, we only get half of the perk to work because the other half is governor. It doesn't work, but it's going to be more useful for us anyways because we will get married and we'll want to have kids at some point. So we'll do that. And then there's 2 ways to level up your character. You can put attribute points, which are these points up here on the left and then down this left-hand side. And you can put focus points, which is this number right here, and these little orange bars that get filled in. So attribute points and focus points both basically do the same thing, but are applied slightly differently. So for every attribute point that we put into a category, and you do that by clicking on here and you click the plus sign, but I'm going to show you. You see right here, we have this thing called a learning limit. This means that we will learn at a 4.5 times experience rate up to level 60, and then it'll start to decay and your learning rate will go down to 0. This is not how high of a level you can go. You can go past this. It just means that you're only going to get this bonus, this maximum bonus up to this level, and then it'll start to go down. And it goes down pretty slowly. It's like every level is like 0.25, something like that. So you'll still continue to gain XP, but anytime we put a point, either a focus point or you put an attribute point, it's going to increase this number and it's going to increase the learning rate. So you'll see right here, you see the number goes up and the slider goes up. So every time we put points in, it's going to increase the rate at which we learn skills and the highest level that we can go on that. So we want to put all of our points into intelligence. At the very beginning, you're going to go up to level 10 on intelligence, and we're going to cap that out. And we'll get more points as we level up. We're also going to put our focus points, and you'll notice when we do focus points, it's going to go shoot up again. So we went from 6 to 7.25, 8.5 to 9.75, all the way up to 11. Now, once we get this maxed out, we'll be capped at, I think it's 14 or 12 and a half. I can't remember actually, but you're going to have a very, very fast learning rate because we want to really boost these skills up the most. So we're going to put most of our points down here. So we put 3 points into intelligence. We put all of our focus points into Steward, and then whatever's left over, we dump into medicine. So we're going to level up these 2 skills first. And then when we gain more levels, we'll unlock more points. We're going to put them into here, and then we'll go up to the next one, which is social skills. We'll do leadership and charm, but don't worry, I'll kind of go through as we unlock them just so that it makes a little bit more sense. Don't try and remember everything. Just kind of know that that's roughly where we're heading. So there we go. We're good with that screen. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is make a little bit of cash. We start with only 1,000 dinars, and we're going to need more than that if we want to hire troops. So come over here to the trade tab. We start off with some equipment that we're just not going to be using. Like for example, this hunting bow, we don't need it. We're not going to be doing any ranged combat here. We could sell it a couple different ways. You could pull it off of your inventory like this, and then you could push this button to sell it. My personal favorite, I would rather just drag it over here to the vendor side and just sell it like that. So drag it over there and you can see your money starts to pile up on this side. We're also going to go to our civilian outfit. So up here at the top, you have a battle outfit. This is where you fight on the campaign map. This is where most of your combat's going to be. If you fight in the city, you click over here on the civilian outfit. This is what you'll go to battle with when you fight bandits in the city and things like that. So we're going to sell all this gear because we're not going to be doing any personal combat in the city, not in this run anyways. So we'll sell all of that. That's going to give us 729 dinars. That's a good start, but we could do even better. So if you come over here, you could see you could add filters to all these tabs. So you can look at only the weapons, shields and ranged weapons, armor, mounts, and then miscellaneous. We're going to go to the miscellaneous tab and then scroll all the way to the bottom. Typically, you're going to have animals down here. It is RNG based, so sometimes you're not going to get it, sometimes you will. If there are animals in here, then we're going to want to buy them, cut them up, and sell them back. If you have animals, just buy them, click done, and then I'll show you what to do next. Just hang tight because we're going to go to another town. If you were unlucky like me, you're going to have to go to the next town. So we're going to exit. Let's go all the way. You can zoom out with the mouse wheel, and then you can use your WASD keys to move the map around. You don't have to be stuck on your character, so you can kind of zoom around. Let's go to the west over here to a town called Vostrom, and we're going to have to be, we'll zoom in and we'll have to be very vigilant because we might get caught by bandits here, and we don't want that to happen because then we'll have to pay them off, and we don't want to spend money doing that. So we're going to go to the next town. Hopefully we'll see some animals. Here we go. So you see bandits, we pause. They're not close enough, so they're just going to ignore us. We'll ignore them. Here we go. We made it to Vostrom. Hopefully they have animals. So same thing. We're going to go to the trade tab, miscellaneous, and no animals again. So we're getting really unlucky in this one. Let's go to one more town. Even if you get animals at both of these towns, I do recommend to go to all three, just because the more money you start with, the easier you're going to have for the first month or two of your gameplay. And as a beginner, this is a really complicated game, so you need every little bit of help you can get. So you start off to Danustica, buy and sell the animal parts. Vostrom, same thing, and then we're going to finish off at Poros. Now there should be more bandits over here, so we got to be extra careful around this bridge. So we're getting unlucky with the animals, but we're getting lucky with the bandits. They're leaving us alone this one. Here we go. Same thing, trade, and you can see, here we go. They do have animals. So if you're still stuck at the previous town, this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to buy all the hogs. Now, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can click one by one like this. You can click on the actual hog itself and then move the slider. Or my personal favorite is just to hold control and then click, and that control basically means to buy everything in the stack. So we're going to buy all the animals that they have, both the hogs and the sheep. We're going to click done to close the transaction. We're going to go back to the trade tab, and now we have to cut these things up. You click on the animals and a little drop down will show up, and you can see this slaughter button. Again, same thing, you can do one by one, or if you hold control, you can just chop them all up at once. So do that to both of those, and you're going to turn all those animals into meat and hides. Now, the reason we did that is because in the very early economy, the game doesn't really know how to price things properly. So you can buy animals for really cheap and then sell them for more than what you bought them for. So we had about 1,700. Now we have 2,600 just by buying and selling animals. So a pretty easy way to make some early cash. We're going to close that out. Now that we have money, we need to buy a couple things. We need to buy some animals. So we need to buy these horses called Midland's Palfrey, and we need to recruit some troops. Most likely, when we're starting off at Poros, most likely the recruit troops is going to be empty because other nobles will come in here and recruit troops, and it's really hard to get them from town sometimes. So we'll probably go to the countryside first. Let's go ahead and recruit. We'll go over here to this town, to Onika. Now, we don't want to recruit Imperial Vigla recruits. These guys are not good at all. Not right now anyways. You have to spend a lot of money to upgrade them into horses. If you right-click any unit, you can tell what their upgrade tree is. So you can see these guys start out on foot, but they only upgrade into cavalry, and we don't want cavalry this early in the game because they're very, very expensive and generally not worth it. But in the mid game and late game, they're very important, so we will take them later. But let's keep going. Let's go village to village until we can get some people in our party. So here we go. We got Imperial recruits. They're pretty cheap. Yeah, they only cost 20 dinars each, so we're going to buy a couple of those. Now, very important, we don't have any food, so we're going to have to buy some food, otherwise our people will starve. So we're going to go over to the buy products tab, and we want to find maybe some grain or whatever the cheapest food they have is. And you can see right here, butter's actually cheaper here, so we're going to buy 3 butter because it's cheap, and then now we won't starve. Here we go. Let's buy a few more. What I would recommend is really the limiting factor is how many horses you can buy, and the horses, you should be spending between 250 to 300 per horse, but we won't know that. Let's buy maybe 5 troops. And you'll know how many troops you have if you come down here to this party tab. You can either click on it or hotkey P, and this brings up your party tab. You can see we have 5 recruits. That's a good start. Let's go back to town and buy some horses so that we can get our movement speed up. So right now, everybody's on foot. You can see right here where our movement speed is 5.2, which is actually really slow. We want to be closer to that 6.0, 6.5 movement speed in the early game. So we're going to go back to Poros. We're going to go to the trade tab, the mounts and saddles, and Midland Palfrey. Now, again, don't buy anything that's over 300. I would just stick to anything that's under 300. And if it's not a good price, just go to the next town then. So I'm going to we need 5 of these, right? Because we took 5 recruits, so we can get 5. Now, we still have a little bit of extra money. In my testing, if you get lucky, you can get up to like 4,000 or 5,000 dinars in the early game. And if you have bad luck, you'll probably be stuck around the 2,000 mark like I did. Buy as many as you can without going below, say, 600 dinars. We have 1,000 left. We could probably buy another 2 before. Yeah, so we're between 5 and 6. That's fine. We have 7 horses. That means we could recruit another 2. And luckily, they respawn pretty much every day. So at Poros, they weren't there before. Now they're here because the day has passed. So let's buy a couple more recruits. So you can see we have 7 recruits, and then coming over here to inventory, which is the I button or this one, Midland's Palfrey, we have 7. So you always want to make sure how many troops you have matches how many horses you have. At least for the early game, that's going to be very important. Once we get into the later stages, it's not as important. Now, we need to be able to make money. There's 2 ways we're going to make money here. We're either going to be fighting bandits, taking their money and selling their loot, or we're going to be completing quests, or we're going to do both at the same time, which is what we're going to try and do. So you'll know if there's a quest by going by any town or village and you see this exclamation mark. This means they have an available quest. So if we go in here, the notables are up here at the top. These are the people that give you quests. You can see this is the one that has the quest. And if I hover my mouse over, it'll tell you what it says. It says rival gang moving in at Poros. I don't recommend doing that one. We're just going to skip that one. Don't worry about it. It's something that you're going to want to have good combat skills to be able to compete in. So in this case, for beginners, I would not recommend doing it. Now, you'll notice our movement speed is 6.0. If I hover my mouse, also to be able to see what your movement speed is, it's this little arrow right here in the bottom right. So if you click, it'll expand it. And then you hover your mouse over the movement speed, and you can see we got cavalry of 0.25, footmen on horse of 0.86. So without those spare mounts in our inventory, we would be a lot slower. We would lose the 0.86. So you can see it's pretty important to have. Now, if you hold the left alt button, it gives you a lot of information. You can see these looters are moving at a 4.1 speed, and we're moving at 6.0. We're moving as fast as caravans, which is really good. That means we can outrun pretty much any looter. So if we can't fight these guys, we're going to want to avoid them, and you need to make sure your movement speed's fast enough for that. So let's keep going village to village. We're going to want to find a couple different types of quests to get us up to the next phase. So let's go to Kanuro. So you can see they've got this exclamation point, deliver the herd. This is perfect. So this is what I recommend doing in the early game. You want to do deliver the herd quests as often as you can. To be able to take the quest, you got to click on this guy's portrait, go to talk.
Sorry.
It's going to give you a bunch of dialogue. You can skip most of this. At the very top here, you're going to see deliver the herd. I heard you may need help with a problem. That's how you start getting into the quest, and he's going to explain you got to deliver 10 cattle, blah, blah, blah. Skip all this. And then when you get to the one that has multiple options, it's the one at the very top. That's how you accept the quest. And then we're good to go. So they just gave us animals. They gave us 10 cows, and we have to deliver them somewhere across the map. Now, the nice thing about this game is it automatically marks quests for you. So if you zoom out, you can see this town has a bubble. This means that's where our quest is. So if you come in here also, if you press J, that'll hotkey the quest menu, or you press this button right down here and you can see the same info is right here. So we're going to get a huge amount of money for this. We're going to make 1,800 dinars, which is more than we started with. And all we have to do is take these animals to this town, which is not even that far. So go ahead and click on Physion. Zoom in a little bit so you can see, and we're going to make sure that we don't run into any bandits. Like I said, as soon as you see bandits, you need to pause and make sure that they're not going to bug you. Now, as you're traveling, if you see quests, go stop by and see what they're asking. So this place needs help with brigands. We'll probably do that later. We don't have enough troops to take on a lot of bandit parties, so we'll probably skip that one for now. And then there's a hideout. We'll want to take a mental note of that because we'll want to come back and clear that at some point, but not a big deal. Now, the hideouts are hidden on the map until you get close enough. When you get close to it, it will reveal, and it'll actually give you a big chunk of scouting XP. You can see our scouting, we gained a couple levels from that. So let's keep going. We got to turn these animals into Physion. We'll just keep checking quests along the way, see if there's any good ones. Bandit base near Spaltia. That'll be a really good quest when we get to the third phase. So we just arrived, and you can see this guy's got these arrows around the exclamation point. That's the person we need to turn the animals into. So we'll talk to him.
I don't know.
And again, at the very top, you see about the task the person sent us with, and then brought 10 head of cattle. You can actually keep these for yourself if you want. I don't usually recommend doing that because you do lose a lot of relations, and then you're going to get some criminal rating added to you. It's not that big of a deal, but I would probably take the positive relations. So we're going to go ahead and give him his cows, and he'll pay us 1,800. I'll show you why you probably want to avoid losing relations. If we go over here to the recruit troops tab, you can see that some of these are kind of grayed out and some of them are not. If I hover my mouse over, it'll tell you if you want to be able to recruit this troop, you need to have a relations of 10. So you can see some of these, we already have it. Some of them you need 5. You need 10 relations here, 20, 40, and 60. So the higher relations you have with these notables, the more troops they will allow you to recruit from them. And you can see right now, this guy has a positive relation, just barely, but it's enough to get us up here. Yeah, you have to need 5. Actually, I don't know why this guy's letting us recruit. We don't even have 5 with him. But anyways, you obviously want to have more because that means you can recruit your troops faster. Now that we have more money, we need to recruit more people so we can actually defend ourselves against bandits. This place does not sell horses. We went in here, you can see they only have really expensive horses. Don't spend more than 300. So we're going to ignore that. Let's maybe, let's see what quests they have. Nope, nothing good there. Let's go back to another town, maybe Lycaron over here. See if they have more horses that we can buy. Now, there's 2 ways to check. If you go to your inventory, if you click on the thing that you want to buy more of, it'll bring this drop-down menu, and you can see if your bar, if you can actually move your bar like this, it means that there are still some available to buy. You can see the same thing right here. So you can see both of them drop down. So you don't have to go to horses and then drag it over right here. You could just click on the thing you want and then start pressing this plus or minus sign. Minus means you want to sell it back to them. Plus means you want to buy some. So again, we want to go down to about 600 or so. So back that off. So we'll keep it at 274. We're buying for 250. That's a good price. We're good there. So we have 13 horses. We need to buy up to 13 recruits. So let's come in here and buy some recruits. 11. We need a few more. Let's also check the quests here. Escort Merchant Caravan. That's a very good one. We're going to want to come back and do that one very soon, but maybe not quite yet. So let's keep an eye on that. We got to find a few more troops to match the amount of mounts that we have. So let's go to all these villages. Here we go. So we're still short by 1, and you'll notice this guy has the quest, need help with brigands. I think we could probably take this one now. Basically what this quest does is it wants us to take out bandit troops that are within a certain radius of their town. So we'll go ahead and take it. So we'll talk to him. Same thing. It's the option at the top. Just accept it. He's going to pay us 550 to take out bandits, which we already want to do anyways because we want to take some fights. So always make sure that you outnumber your enemy in the early game, because we have low tier troops, so we don't want to be fighting outnumbered. Now, one thing, this guy is going to be a tough fight. Even though we have more troops than them, they have 2 cavalry, so we probably don't want to bother them actually. Let's leave them alone. These guys have only infantry. We could take that fight, so let's chase him down. We outnumber him by a little bit, and you hover your mouse over, you can see they have only infantry this time, so that's fine. Don't fight cavalry. The mountain bandits will sometimes have cavalry. Kind of unusual for them to have 2 in a single party. That other one had 2, so not a big deal. We'll switch our target. We'll go after these guys first. Now, first thing you want to do when you get into the actual battle is select your troops. So press the number 1. That's the group that these guys are assigned to. We're going to press F1 and F3. That's going to go ahead and charge our troops into them. Now, one thing we want to do before they get here, though, is we want to go and distract these guys because they are going to throw javelins. Oh, they already killed 2 of our guys. So here we go. Like I said, we want to distract their troops. So we're going to go up and just hold our shield right in front of them and let our guys have a chance to catch up and hopefully get some kills. We can come in here and whack people too. I don't recommend fighting too much, but you can distract if you want, if it'll help. You can see we're going to take some losses here. Usually I would stick to looters in the early game, but these guys they were easy targets, so we'll take our losses, no big deal. We can recruit them back, they're cheap. So here we go, we won the battle. Now you'll see this up arrow, this means that your character gained some levels. If you hover over it, it'll tell you what they gained. We got 8 kills, 6 people leveled up. We lost 7 people though, so we lost more than half of our troops. And then looks like we took 2 prisoners. So anytime somebody gets injured, they'll be in this wounded category. On your side, wounded, if you win the battle, it means they will be able to recover after the battle, after some time. And on the losing side, wounded basically means you get to take these guys as prisoners. So we'll get some prisoners here. At the very top, you can see we gain 2 renown and 1.5 morale. So renown is basically a stat that we need to gain to increase our clan tier, and we'll be covering that in just a second. Don't worry about that. Just know that this number is very important. And then morale is pretty obvious. If you have higher morale, your troops are less likely to run from battle. I don't think morale is that important in Bannerlord though, so I would mostly ignore this. Here we go. So the next screen, we can take prisoners. So you can see here, we have room for 13 prisoners. We can take these guys. You can take them 1 by 1, or you can take them all at once. And then you can see here on this screen, we've got some recruits that they can level up right here. You can see we got 5 out of 5. So to be able to level them up, you can click on this button right here, and it'll have a drop-down menu. You can see the 2 different paths that they can go. Or if you have a lot of troops to level up, I recommend using this button up here because it's a little bit easier interface to use. So we're going to stick to only troops with shields for now, just because it's easier. So go ahead and upgrade everybody to shielded troops, and it's going to cost us a few bucks. It'll cost us 75 dinars, but having shielded troops is way better than having recruits with no shields, and they only cost a little bit more money. Now the next screen is the loot screen. We're going to want to take all this loot. I don't really recommend leaving loot behind at any point, so go ahead and press this button right here to take all, or if you like hotkeys, A will do it. And we can upgrade some of our gear here. If you hover your mouse over any of these items, you'll see they have a lot of stats that you can look at. So this body armor is going to be the best. It's going to give us a massive increase. So right now we have 5 body armor, 2 and 2. This new item we just got is 19, 11, and 9. So it's a very, very big increase. We've also got better shoes. So you can see hovering over the 2 shoes, one of them is pretty much the same. One of them has +1 armor there. So a little bit of an increase there. And then I think the weapon's probably going to be about the same. Yeah, we'll probably just leave that. Okay, so that's that. And then we'll end up selling all this stuff as battle loot. We'll make some money off of it. So let's go ahead and click done. So we completed half of the quest. So 1 out of 2, we need to take out 1 more group, but we don't have enough troops to do that. We're pretty desperately in need of troops. So let's go hire some more people. And looking at this, I could see we've got another Deliver the Herd quest, which I would probably take on. Let's finish our bandit quest first. Yeah, this is that group that has 3 cav. We're not going to mess with them. So let's see if we can find 1 more person in this area. If you go too far away from the town, then they don't count. So you want to kind of stay in that area until you get them. All right, there we go. So we have 13 animals. We have 13 people. We're good to go. Let's actually go sell our prisoners because they are slowing us down. So prisoners do slow your movement speed by quite a bit. So I don't recommend hauling them around for too long. There we go. So we caught these guys. There's only 4 of them this time. And again, they don't have any cavalry. So this is a pretty easy, safe battle to take. So again, F1, F3, we're going to charge. We're going to speed up ahead of these guys, and then we're going to use our shield just to stuff whatever it is that they're throwing at us. So keep your shield up, which is your right mouse button. And it looks like they don't have any javelin throwers this time. It's just regular melee troops, so no big deal. We'll distract them. Like I said, by doing this, there's only 2 guys up there fighting, and then 2 guys are fighting us. So that means we're very unlikely to lose a troop here. There we go. And you can see our recruits got some kills, so we can level up some people there. And again, in the early game, as soon as you get people upgrading that they have the upgrade from the recruits, just go ahead and do it. Upgrade them to level 2 with the shield. Don't go the archers yet. We'll get archers at some point, but not in the early game. Let's go just shield infantry for now. And then the level 2 infantry are starting to get upgrades. Let's not do that yet because they become very expensive very quickly, and we don't want to run out of money. So just go to level 2s and leave them there for a little bit. There we go. We finished the quest. We get that little, I don't know, was it a flute sound or something? And we just earned 550 for doing that, plus whatever we earned in loot, plus whatever money they had on them, and then whatever we were able to sell these prisoners for. So when you start collecting prisoners, you can sell them by going to any town and go to the tavern district, and then you can see ransom your prisoners. We can make just about 50 dinars. If you have, this will sell everything in your prisoner hold. If you don't want to sell everybody and you only want to sell specific units, you go choose prisoners to be ransomed, and then you can manually choose which one. In this case, we'll just sell them both. We don't want to be slowed down, so don't carry prisoners on you for now. We'll be carrying prisoners soon, but right now we just want to stay nice and light. Okay, let's go back to that deliver the herd quest. We'll take that one, and they're going to pay us 1,800 again. That's such a good quest. Very, very good money. Now again, we're going to zoom out and see where Argaron is. It's all the way up north here, so we'll click on that, and let's try and avoid getting caught by bandits here. And like I said, as you're traveling, make sure you stop by and check out quests. This one's got train the troops. That's a really good one, so we'll take that one as well. We'll do them both at the same time. So we'll continue our quest to Argaron. Now, if you spot small groups of looters that you can pick on, I recommend doing it. We got that quest to do. We'll do them both at the same time. So probably the last time I'll show this. Again, just right up to them, hold your shield up, you can distract them. And if you see somebody out here, like this guy's out here by himself, he's kind of getting picked on a bit, make sure you get in there and help him. There you go. So we did lose somebody. We lost a recruit, but that's fine. We can recruit him back up. So that's basically what your battles are going to look like in the early game. We'll probably skip some of these other battles. Now, you notice our Bard troops gained 2 levels there. We need a few more, so we'll hold off. Don't upgrade these guys until you have everybody upgraded. But your recruits, you want to do right away because they're just not good without a shield. We'll do that. There you go. We made it. Let's turn that quest in. We're going to get another 1,800 out of that. Now, there's another quest. Once you get a few troops under your belt, say 10 to 15, you could probably take on this army of poachers. If you're not strong enough, the game will tell you, and then they'll just block you from doing it. But army of poachers is also a good one. It's going to help us level up our charm skills. So go ahead and click on him. Let's take this quest, and it's going to have us go to this little village right here. Now we need to go there at midnight, so I would just recommend go there and just wait. So we'll wait here, and then eventually you'll get a pop-up once you get close to midnight where you could either fight the poachers or you can negotiate. Again, our build right now, actually we did get a level up, so let's go put that point. So every time you get a level up, remember everything goes into Steward first and then medicine. So we're going to level up medicine, then leadership will be next. So Steward, medicine, leadership. But what I was saying is we're going to want to level up our charm skill, and doing any kind of negotiating will allow you to get more charm skills. So we're going to want to do anything that we can do in the early game to level that up. We're going to want to take. So we'll negotiate. The very top option, maybe we can come to an agreement. This means that we actually have an option to negotiate. So we have all these options over here, and then you can see we need to pass 2. You can see you got 0 out of 2 needed to succeed in the persuasion attempt. The 1 up arrow correlates to 1 pass. The 2 up arrow mean it correlates to 2. So if we succeed in one of these double up arrows, we can just pass it right off the bat. 1 up arrow means we'd have to do 2 in a row. This X means there's a chance that you could fail the whole thing. Like if you have a 14% chance of pissing this guy off and just completely losing the chat check. So we'll do the safe one. This one has no chance of failure, the negative failure, and we have a 69% chance to pass, and it looks like we got it. So we got 1 success. We need 1 more. So again, down here, we've got a 54% chance and a 14% chance to critically fail. However, you'll notice we've got some green markings right here. So this means you have a trait in common with the other person, and you're more likely to pass if you select this option. You get a little bit of a bonus to that. So either of these would be fine. And it looks like that one worked. We got a success. So we persuaded them to stop their poaching, and he's going to go away. We just get the money right off the bat. So like I said, one of the easiest quests you can do, it's basically free money, and we get charm XP out of it. So very good one to do. There we go. Now we still have one quest that we're working on, which is train the troops. We got to go do that, but we don't want to just do it randomly. We want to go town to town trying to find other quests that we can do along the way. So let's keep moving. These guys we could probably fight. It's only 4 groups. And like I said, these aren't looters. These are the higher tier. These are sea raiders, but we outnumber them by such a large margin, we can easily take them out. Now, one last option, well, I'm going to show you, if you want to actually fight on foot with your troops, you can do it. Just dismount. You press Z to dismount, and then just run up with your troops. Same thing, you're going to go... Oh, wow, we got nailed in the leg. You're going to want to keep your shield up and just block for your guys. Block, block, block. And then once they start attacking somebody else, you can start whacking them. Don't fight head on with these guys because they'll block just about everything you throw at them. Just you're much more useful to your troops as a distraction than somebody doing damage. So just go up, get your shield in their face, and then let your guys catch up and do most of the work. We got a few more people upgrading. I don't think we have enough borrowed troops yet though, so we got to keep going. Yeah, we have still 2 more to go. We'll take these guys prisoner. So let's come over here. Umbrella is really close. Now, I don't know where you'll end up because quests are RNG. You may end up down here at Jamaris. You may end up down here at Danustica. You may even be in a different culture. So like down here in Asarai, who knows where you'll be. Just all you need to do in the early game is those 3 quests that I mentioned: to train the troops, deliver the herd, and then eventually when you get enough troops, you're going to want to look at the poachers quests. Just look for those and then keep going. Our main goal right now is to get our troops up to our maximum party size, which right now is about 22. So we're pretty close, although these borrowed troops shouldn't count to that number. We're going to want to make sure we have enough animals, and then very soon we're going to need to buy a bunch of different food types, which we'll do very soon. So just keep doing quests until you get up to that amount. We actually have a lot of spare money. We should be buying more mounts and more troops. So let's do that after we fight a few more times. Now that's one thing you got to be careful. Right there, I just caught these guys. You can see I caught them, but there's 2 groups together now. So if they're close in proximity on the campaign map, they will actually join forces. And you can see right here, we're actually outnumbered. Well, not outnumbered, but they are stronger than us in terms of power levels. We don't want to do that. That's a very good way to lose your whole party. So don't do that. Let them get farther away. Actually, this guy's separated. We can take him out pretty easily. There we go. So we'll take this guy out. There we go. No losses. And I think we're getting pretty close. Now, it is a bigger risk to fight these troops that are better than looters, but you'll notice sometimes you get lucky and you get a really good loot drop. Like this guy dropped the Husker mail shirt. This thing is really, really good. We already had a pretty good set of armor. Actually, the fine woodland garment is pretty good, but this thing is very good. This is a mid-game armor item, so sometimes you do get lucky. Now, after you fight a couple battles, one thing you're going to want to do is sell battle loot. So if we go here to the trade screen, you'll notice you have all these items that you could sell. You're probably going to want to keep a few things, I would say. Before you sell, make sure if you get any throwing weapons, like this fish harpoon, this is a javelin, we're going to want to keep at least 1 stack. And then you're probably going to want to keep one kind of spear, so some polearm. This guy had a pretty nice polearm. We'll just save that one. Everything else can go. But before you sell stuff, go to your miscellaneous tab and make sure you don't sell any food items. That for sure you want to keep. So come over here, this little lock button right here. This means that when you go to sell all, these items are immune from that, so they won't get picked up. Same thing with your mounts. Make sure you lock your mounts. You don't want to sell either of these 2. Everything else can go. So you can see here, we go back to all. If we do this, it's going to sell everything we have in our inventory that's not locked, and we're going to make 2,500. So that's going to put us up to 6 grand. We got way more money than we should right now. I should be spending it. So let's go to the next step. We are going to buy all the food types that we can get. There's 9 different food types in Bannerlord, and you're going to want to have all 9 all the time. The main reason why is because we use those food types to level up one of our important skills called stewardship. So we're going to go to the miscellaneous tab. We're going to try and buy some of each. We want to probably buy maybe 3 of each in the early game. And then once you start getting more and more troops, you're going to want to increase this limit. We already have a lot of grain. We don't need to buy more of that. Let's buy meat. And you can see meat wasn't locked yet. Fish isn't locked yet. And then beer not locked yet. So we have 7. We're only short 2 different food groups, which is fine. We'll get it. We just need to go to different towns and see if we could find it. So let's go ahead and trade for that. We still have 6 grand. Pretty good. Actually, why don't we buy some more horses? Because I already know we're going to recruit more and they're really cheap here. They're only 200. That is really, really cheap. Yeah. So we're going to buy probably 20, 25. Now you'll notice when you buy way more mounts than you have people to ride them, you're going to get this thing called a herding penalty. We actually don't have herding penalty yet, but we will be pretty close to it. Every person in your party is able to manage 2 animals. So we have a party size of 17. That means we can have up to 34 animals without getting a herding penalty. So 25, that's why it's in line. That's fine. So you can always carry more mounts than you have troops, and then it'll allow you to easily expand when you run into recruits that you can take up. So let's go villages, see what these guys have. No good quests, but we will take the troops. And that puts us at max actually. So we'll stop recruiting there. And then we really need to get these guys leveled up, these borrowed troops. These guys are starting to bunch up. Let's back off. There we go. This 11 is going to be that'll be an easy battle for us. Now, once you get over 20 troops, I think right at 20, you will start your battles. Instead of going right in, you're going to get this pre-battle planning phase. So right here, you can use your WASD keys to move around, and you'll notice there's these little, it's kind of hard to see, but there's these little flags that denote where you're able to, it's kind of like Total War. Like you can pre-plan where you put your troops, and you're stuck in this designated area, but you can kind of click and drag where you want your troops to be, and you can select them up here, and then you just left click and you drag however you want them to be, whatever you want the shape, how thick you want them to be. In this case, we probably want them to be nice and wide so we can envelop them, but maybe not super wide so we can have a little bit of thickness in the middle. So there we go. We're done. You just click ready, and then you're back to regular battle. There you go. No losses. That should be enough to turn that quest in. Yep. Borrow troops. So we'll upgrade all of those. Get our recruits up to having shields, and then send them back. We're going to get another 2,400. Like I said, that's one of the best quests you can get if you can run into it. And it looks like we got head wrap. Nice. We got a helmet now. And we got our first leadership perk. So leadership levels up pretty easily. As long as you have troops that are not bandits and they get kills, you will get leadership XP after every battle. So we're not really taking bandit troops here. So we're going to have an easy time leveling up leadership. There's a better way to level up later, but we'll cover that in the future. But in the early game, we get it by having troops that are non-bandits that get kills. So for level 25, we're going to take combat tips up here at the top. We're going to get +2 experience per day for every troop in the party. And very important, we're going to get +1 troop tier when you recruit from the same culture. So remember before how I showed you these troops were grayed out? So right here, these were grayed out. That perk basically unlocks the next highest level, even if we don't have the relationship gain. So right here, before we were only getting 2 slots, 1, 2, 2, 1. Now we get 3, 2, 3, 3, 2. So it's a huge difference. It's such a good perk. I can't believe they put it at level 25, to be honest. It's a really, really good perk. All right, now we don't have any more quests. We need to go pick up more troops, and we need to pick up more quests. So let's go town to town or village to village until we get capped out. And again, make sure you're selling your loot. Make sure you're topping up on your food. And the easiest way to do this, if you already have the food group in your inventory, the easiest way to do it is just like we did with the horses. Click on that. You can see we only have 2. So we're going to plus sign this one. Olives, we only have 1. We'll plus sign that. And then beer, we'll get up to 3. Now, 1, 2, 3, 7 food groups. So we can pick up a couple more. We need grapes. Yeah, and you'll know if you have the food group, like right here, you know we have grain. You can see how it drops down on both sides. You can check. And then as soon as you get one where you see it didn't drop down, like this one, nothing dropped down. You know we don't have that. So we want to get all 3 of those. Date fruit, we don't have that either, so we'll take 3. Now we have all 9 food groups. So the reason we want all 9 is because we're going to be leveling up this skill right here, Steward. So Steward is leveled up every time you have troops in your party and you have food groups above. You have all the different food types. So you start getting XP at, I believe, 4 different food types, and you get the maximum amount of XP at all 9 food types. And then obviously the more troops you have, the more you'll get. So you want more troops and you want all 9 food types. Then you'll be really good to go. It's a very easy skill to level up. And the reason we level this up, it does increase your party size, so it does help in that sense. But really the more important thing is the perks. There's some really, really good perks in the Steward lineup that we're going to want to take. And we'll go over that as we unlock them, but we do have a focus point. Let's finish off medicine. So there we go. This is finished Steward medicine. We're going to go leadership next and then charm after that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's keep going. Now, once you start to get this amount of troops, so 20, 25 troops, you could probably start taking these escort merchant caravans. This is a little bit of a step up in how challenging the quest is. So let's see if they even let us take the quest yet. Yeah, so we have enough troops. They are willing to do it. We get paid 350 dinars every day that we guard this guy on the road. So they're going to pop out a caravan right here. You can see the quest marker. So we're going to pop out of the town and we're going to want to follow them wherever they go. You can do it manually by clicking on the map like this. Or what I recommend doing is just holding Alt and then clicking them, and then it'll automatically set you to follow that group. So that just reduces the amount of work you have to do. Now, these groups are scripted. So as soon as you take this quest, these guys will pop out of thin air and attack you. These are not normal bandits. They don't normally fight on the campaign map. So it only happens with the merchant quest. Now, the reason we take these quests is not so much for the money in escorting these guys, but these battles give you a lot of renown, and these prisoners are worth a lot of money. So we're going to want to fight these battles specifically for that. So as soon as they engage our caravan, we're going to want to go in, click on them, help the caravan. But what I would recommend before you fight the battle, we're going to want to upgrade some of our troops because we have a significant amount of money. We could afford it. So go to your party screen. Anybody you can upgrade, let's upgrade. So all your recruits should be upgraded. All your level 2 guys should be leveled up to level 3. So again, hold control, click, that'll recruit everybody up to the next tier. So we have a bunch of tier 3 guys. This is very important because these guys have javelins. You can see right here, they'll have throwing weapons to throw. They actually take out a lot of people with them. So pretty important to have that. You can see this level 2, they just have a shield. I think at level 4, they lose it. Yeah, level 4, they don't have the throwing weapons again. So level 3 is an odd one. I don't know why they have it, but very good level to have. So we're going to go ahead and fight. Now, there are caravan troops in here that are going to help us. But just F1, F3, just send your guys in. It doesn't matter. The battle's going to be really, really messy. And I recommend doing this dismounted. And if you have a polearm, pull the polearm out and start stabbing horses. If you hit the horse when they're going by, you'll cause them to get stunned. Like this guy. Oh, I keep missing. There we go, like that. This guy got stunned. Oh, we got knocked out. If you stun the horse next to your troops will come in and whack them a few times. And it's really easy to pull them off the horse that way. But yeah, this is kind of a messy battle. Just know that the enemy cavalry are really weak. So it's... Yeah, see, there you go. We stunned him and our ally came up and blasted him. Actually, I think that was one of our troops. But it's a messy battle. It's going to take a little while, but they don't really do that much damage. So just keep your shield up most of the time. Stun them as much as you can. Get them slowed down so you guys can get in there and smack them. Now, because we're fighting with other units that are not ours, we have to share the loot and the renown. If we were to kill everybody here, we would have gotten like 5 or 6 renown, and we would have gotten all the loot and all the prisoners. But it's not a big deal. It's still good to fight these because you will get some good experience. You can see a lot of people leveled up from here. We got 13 kills out of it, which is pretty good. So we'll take all, and they actually drop mounts, which are the biggest expense that we have. So that will make it a little bit easier. Now, you'll notice they also drop these things called sumpter horses. These are pack animals. They do not speed your party up, but they will increase your cargo capacity by a pretty large amount. You just got to be careful not to go into herding penalty. So make sure you don't have, again, whatever your party size is, double it, and that's however many animals you can have, as long as you're not on cavalry. If you have all cavalry, the horse that you're riding actually counts towards that. So like our main character is on a horse, so he only gets to watch 1 animal. Everybody else that's on foot can watch 2 animals. So we're actually 24 times 2 minus 1. It's a little complicated, but just, you know, we're not really using cav, so just double it. And that's about where you'll start getting herding penalty. So that should be good. Let's finish this quest off. Now, you always get raided at least once between each town, and you'll usually go to either 2, sometimes 3 towns. So just be prepared. Once you do this once, you'll probably be okay between now and the next town. Usually it's just 1 between each town. So we'll go ahead and fight this one. We go pretty easy, no losses, and we got more loot this time, actually. So we'll want to take all the prisoners. Keep upgrading your troops. Get everybody up to level 3. As long as you've got a decent amount of money in the bank, I would say don't go below maybe 1 or 2,000 at this point, and then just upgrade everybody to level 3. We got our first Steward unlock, so we're going to take the top one, which is Frugal. This is going to reduce our party wages by 5% and recruitment costs. Not that big of a deal, but it does add up over time. If you hover over our wages, we went from 93 down to 88. So like I said, it's not a lot of money, but it adds up over time. There's some other perks that'll reduce it down even further, like 25%. The final perk will actually reduce it by a huge amount. So we're going to be paying less than half of what our wages are once we get this thing maxed out. So that's why I said Steward's pretty good to have, especially in the early game. All right, so we're still escorting these guys. And like I said, you usually go to maybe 2 towns and then it'll give you your money. So we got 1,400 from that. Plus we got all these prisoners. Now, at this point, do not sell your prisoners. Don't ransom them off. We're going to want to save them up and then look for another quest type. So I'm going to go around looking for another escort merchant caravan quest. Those are only going to be found in towns. So let's go to town until we can find another one. And then I'll show you, once you save up 10 to 15 of those, you're going to want to find a quest called Landowner Needs Manual Laborers. So we'll do that one. Oh, also caravan ambushes are pretty good. It's just like the escort merchant caravan, but you only have to do 1 battle instead of, 2 or 3, and you don't have to follow this guy around the map. So we'll do this one. This one's a little different though. Oh, we don't have enough troops, they said. How about now? Nope, they still don't take it. Yeah, sometimes they want you to have more troops, which is weird because it's literally the same fight that we do on the escort mission, but it's all right. I don't make the rules. We just got to follow them. And again, every time you go to a town, just make sure you top off your food. So we're going up to 3 here, and let's just keep looking for that quest. Here we go. We got another escort merchant caravan. We're going to take it. Like I said, I'm going to start editing this a lot faster because it's kind of grindy at this point. You just got to find the right quests, get them done, save up your units, and then I'll show you what to do once we get enough. But we got another one. We should get some decent prisoners off of this. It might be enough. Yeah, we've got over 10 now. I did take a couple looters just so we can turn that quest in. And again, we'll keep upgrading everybody to level 3. Now, we reached level 4, so every single level you will get at least 1 focus point, and every 4 levels you will get 1 attribute point. So attribute points are very rare versus focus points, so you got to be much more careful where you put these. Focus points, usually you'll have more than you need by the end of the game, but attribute points you'll always be in short supply. So again, we're going to put these into intelligence until we get up to 10, which is the max, and then all of our focus points, we got Steward, Medicine, Leadership is next, and then we'll do Charm after that. So all 4 of these. Now we're starting to get a decent sized party, so I'm going to increase our minimum reserve of each food type to 5. Just make sure we don't run out because, like I said, we need to get as much XP as fast as we can, so we'll keep that. Now once you get enough of these prisoners, you want to have about 10 at a minimum. Usually the first quest will have you turn in 9, I think it is. But the more you have, the better off you'll be. So once you get 10 of these prisoners, anything that's not just a bunch of looters, obviously we have looters here, but we're going to want to start looking for specific types of villages. So anything that's a mine, so a silver mine, an iron mine, there's another one right here. You can see it's got the symbol with the little bricks, the metal bricks. Here's an iron mine. These are good to check and see because those are the ones that'll spawn the quest that we need. It's called Landowner Needs Manual Labor. You could also check clay pits right here. So this kind of brown looking brick. So clay pits, there's a bunch of them all over the map, especially in Botania lands. You could also find salt mines. These ones also have the manual labor quest. I guess it's like storage with salt falling out of it. So those have it as well. Anytime you go by those, when you have 10 prisoners or more, you're going to want to check and see if they have the quest. So we'll be going down south here, it looks like, to Lycaron. We'll be going near another mine, see if they have it. Let's go head down and finish this quest off. Oh, we're getting attacked again. When you start to get to the point where you're outnumbering your guys, the enemy by a significant margin, and the power level looks like this, you could auto-resolve, and it's a very small chance that you will take casualties. You still might lose a few troops, but in this case, I'm going to take the chance. Let's go ahead and send troops. This means that the fight is simulated. You can see here we got some injuries, but no losses. That's really good. And we got 50% of the kills, so that's definitely worth it. We'll take some prisoners, keep upgrading our troops, and we'll move on. So now anytime we get into a fight with looters, if we're outnumbering them by a significant margin, we're probably going to want to auto-resolve it just to save time. All right, let's keep topping up our food. Let's finish this quest. We'll take our money and yeah, I think we should probably keep recruiting more troops. So we'll try and keep our party size maxed out. We need to keep our animals as well maxed out. Let's try and find a place that has the quest where we can turn these prisoners in. So again, we're going to want to look for a salt mine, a clay pit, anything that has to do with metal. So the silver mine, the iron ore mine, those are really good targets. And we already got Steward level 50 perk. We're going to take Drill Sergeant. This is going to give us XP towards all of the troops in our party. This perk is good for higher tier troops, but higher tier troops generally don't have a hard time leveling up. It's the lower tier. So Drill Sergeant, that's going to be the pick. We'll put another point into Leadership. Again, we're going Steward, then Medicine, then Leadership, then Charm. Here we go. So first place we went to actually had the quest. So like I said, any of these mines, they are very likely to have it, but they're not guaranteed to have it. But let's take this one. So open up the chat dialog. Now we're going to do this one a little bit differently. If you talk and accept the quest, there is a chance that one of these other guys come out and complain that you're taking work for them. And this is specific to this quest. So Landlord Manual Labor, when you already have the people to turn in for the quest, just go talk to them in person. So you go to visit and then you avoid that. So we're going to accept the quest here. So we need to accept it first. He's going to ask for 10 prisoners. And then we just immediately talk to him again and then turn it back in. So yes, I brought a few men. We're going to turn in everybody that we have. So 14 prisoners, and he's going to pay us $2,000 for it. So that's pretty good. Like I said, we were already getting those prisoners anyways from another quest. So this is basically just free money. The only work we had to do was find a place that had the quest. We didn't have to go out of our way to do anything else. So let's keep going. We'll go all the different towns, see how many of those escort merchant caravan quests we can get. We'll keep collecting those. And then our main goal from here on out. So at this point, you should be maxing out your party, getting all your troops up to level 3, and then keeping an eye on your clan tab. So over here, this clan tab, I believe the hotkey is L. Yeah, so L or push this button. On the very top right, you're going to want to keep an eye on your clan tier. So I mentioned before how renown was very important. We have 27 renown and we need 50 to move on to the next level. Once we move on to the next level, we can become a mercenary and we'll start making a serious amount of money, and it increases our party size by 25. We get an extra companion limit, more workshops. There's a lot of things that go with it. Don't worry about most of that stuff. Just know that a higher clan tier is very, very important. So we're going to want to keep taking those quests that give us battles, because those battles are going to give us a decent amount of renown, and then that'll allow us to progress to clan tier 1. So again, stack up that money, get your troops up to clan tier 3, making sure you're not running out of mounts, make sure you're not running out of food. You always want to make sure you have all 9 types of food. And then by the time you hit clan tier 1, we'll come back and then talk about what we do in the next phase. For the level 75 perk, make sure on Stewart, make sure you take sweatshops. This is going to be really good for workshops, which we're going to be purchasing some soon. So take that one. Here we go. We just finished a battle that put us over the edge. We have reached clan tier 1. So what I'm going to recommend at this point, make sure you're fully stocked up. Like always, sell off all your battle loot. Make sure you have enough mounts to cover all your party size. When you gain a level, you also gain troop size or your party size. You can see here our clan tier bonus is plus 25 now. So we just jumped pretty heavily in how big of an army we can field. We're going to want to recruit up to the max. So just go around, make sure you have as many of those as you can. And as always, you want to have enough mounts to cover them. So we can go up to 65. So we're going to want to have at least 65 mounts. Go to the next town. And since we increased our party size so much more, we're going to want to increase our minimum threshold for how much we hold. I would probably go up to maybe 15 to 20 at this point, just to make it so you don't have to stop every 2 days to resupply. It can get really tedious, especially when they don't have the goods that you need. Like some of these things are in short supply here. So third phase, our main goal is to get to clan tier 2, and we're going to do that a little bit faster than what we were doing before. You'll notice we have to get, instead of 50 renown, we need 150. So we need another 100. And if we were to have to just go around doing those little quests, it would take twice as long as it took just to get here, because obviously we'd be growing at the same rate. We don't want to do that. We want to increase our rate a little bit faster. So what I'm going to recommend is, as I mentioned before, get up to your max party size. In this case, it's 66. Let's go ahead and go around, snap up as many troops as we can. There you go. So we're maxed out. We also have enough mounts to hold all of them. So we're good there. Let's get a little bit more food. Yeah, make sure you're topped off here, because we are going to go pick up some enemies soon, and we're going to be in enemy territory for a while. So we're not going to want to miss out on this XP while we're doing that. There we go. And at this point, I've got a little over 10,000 saved up. Our party wages is 213. You might be close to this. It just depends on where you're at. If you're running short on money, just do some more quests. Same thing we were doing before, the escort merchant caravan, extortion by deserter, and then turn in any of those prisoners to the landowner needs laborers. And you should be able to save up money pretty quickly. But just try and, I'd say if you have like 5K at this point, you're in very good shape. Anything above 5K is just a bonus. So now that we reach clan tier 1, we are eligible for becoming a mercenary, which means we're going to be doing pretty much the same thing we were doing before, but we're going to get paid double for it now. So we need to find out who we're going to be a mercenary for. My personal preference is to stay within the Empire region. So either go with the South, the North, or the West. You could pick any of them. I don't know that any one of them are better than the other, and it really depends on what your game is looking like, because sometimes one of these empires will expand into the other, and then that means that that one's going to be very weak. You probably don't want to join a weak one, because you're going to be fighting on the back foot the whole time. In this case, it looks like everybody's pretty much even. We were able to get through this pretty quick. We're still within the first year. So I'm going to recommend, in this case, if everybody's pretty even, I do like the Northern Empire just because their fiefs are pretty easy to defend. And when we start to buy workshops, we're going to want to pick a good town that's safe off the front line. Argeron's pretty good for that. So, but again, you could pick any of these. It doesn't matter. If you really want to, you can go outside and do one of these other ones. It doesn't really matter. But, you know, if you're going to follow this guide and you're not sure, just go Northern Empire, assuming they haven't gotten beaten up badly. So we're going to head up there. Now, to become a mercenary, all we need to do is talk to somebody. And actually, this guy's way out of... Oh, no, he's getting attacked. I don't know if he's going to survive that. We need to talk to a noble. No, he's going to get killed. All right, well, We got to find a noble of the Northern Empire that we can talk to so we can actually join them. It can be any noble. It doesn't have to be the main leader, which means we need to go in their territory and just track somebody down. One thing you'll probably want to do before you do that, though, they will not take you as a mercenary if they're not at war with anybody. So we're going to go to the encyclopedia. The hotkey there is the key N. I think there's another way to get to it, isn't there? I actually don't know how to get to it otherwise. Yeah, so just press N and then go to the Kingdoms tab right here. And then we're going to want to go to the Northern Empire right here. We'll click on them. And then you can see Lucan is the leader. They've got a bunch of clans. Here's all the land that they own, and then you can see who they're at war with. So they're at war with the Khazate, so they are actually at war. If we can catch them, as soon as we find a noble, we'll be able to join because, like I said, if they're at war, they will take us in. Oh, here's somebody. If they go into their town, you can't get to them unless you pay to get into the keep. So that's unfortunate. Let's wait for somebody to come out. I don't want to pay for that. There you go. So we can talk to her. Now the option here, you want to go the middle one. There's something I'd like to discuss. And then you want to do the top one. I'd like to enter the service of Emperor Lucan. And then my sword is yours. And you can see they're going to pay us 140 dinars for every influence that we get. So just accept that and then we'll move on. Now influence is this right here. You get influence for completing battles, like successfully winning battles. Some quests will give you a little bit influence, I believe. And then there's perks that'll give you influence as well. It's an easy pick. We're just going to auto resolve this. And then you can see right here at the top, we're going to get renown and influence this time. So we're getting 140, 2.3 influence times 140. We're basically paying our party wages just by taking out this tiny group of looters. So very much worth it to become a mercenary. The only thing you have to worry about is you're going to be at war with somebody. So if you run into one of these towns and there's enemy nobles near them, they will hurt you pretty badly. So you need to make sure you get your party strength up, which we're going to do right now. Let's actually go do that. Let's start heading over towards the war front because that's where we're going to make a very healthy chunk of money as well as get some decent experience. Let's go to the front line here. Now in my game, I'm at the point where we're at level 9. We've already maxed out these 4, the core 4 that we're going to be spending our time on. It's time to start leveling up 2 more, which is tactics and then engineering. We're going to do tactics first. Tactics basically helps you with auto-resolve battles. So it gives you better stats for auto-resolve. And then over here, charm, I forgot to explain this. So charm increases the amount of relations gain you get anytime you do something that's positive towards another clan. I think the base level is like 3 relations or 5 relations, something like that. So by having a higher charm skill, instead of that, you're going to get a bonus to that. So 20%. So instead of getting, say, 5, you get 6 or 7. And at the high end, you get over, I think it's like 200 or something. So you can get, I don't know, 20 or 30 relations gain for something really small. So charm is really good if you're going to be playing with other people or you're going to run your own kingdom. This is pretty important. That's just why we'll be leveling up pretty heavily in this playthrough. So let's get over to the war front and then we'll talk about how to deal with enemy noble parties and how to wage war, especially in the early game when you're small and weak. Let's top off our food before we go into enemy territory though. If you zoom out, you see these army symbols. That means most of the fighting is going to be up here. We don't really want to go near the enemy noble parties or near our ally noble parties because that's usually where the enemies are going to be attracted to. So we'll come down here and we'll just harass their villages. So we're going to try and go to the opposite end and hopefully get away with a lot of what we're going to try and do. If the enemy starts coming after us, we'll have to retreat, and it's kind of a waste of time, but I think it's probably worth the risk. So let's start all the way down here. Now again, in your game, it's all RNG. You never know who you're going to be at war with. If you join the Northern Empire, they usually go to war with Khazate, the other empires, and then Battania. Sometimes, yeah, they do go to war with Sturgia too. So it's mostly going to be your neighbors. But again, if you join somebody else, let's say you join the Western Empire, you're going to be going to war with Vlandia and Asteroid down here in the south and Battania, and then obviously the other empire clans. So what we're going to do, we're going to focus on, because we don't have a strong enough party to combat the enemy noble parties. We have decent numbers, but we just don't have the unit strength. These guys are pretty weak. So we're going to go harass their villages, but let's take another perk here. Looks like we got Stewart level 100. So we're going to take Efficient Campaigner. It's not going to help us too much right now, but in the near future, we're going to start parties of our own, and that's going to reduce our wages by 25% for our whole party. So pretty good there. So we'll take that one, and let's go harass these villages. Be very careful. Slow the game down a little bit. Maybe don't go on max speed here, because you want to make sure you have enough time to maneuver and get away from enemy nobles if they start chasing you. We're going to go up to this enemy village. You go to take hostile action. You could either raid the village, you can force them to give you troops, or you can force them to give you materials or goods. So we'll probably just stick to force peasants to give you goods or recruits, one of these two. I don't really recommend raiding right now because that's going to draw a lot of attention. They'll start sending a lot of big parties after you, and it's just kind of a waste of time. If you just take out their militia and ask for recruits or goods, they won't necessarily leave you alone, but they're not going to come after you like they will if you start raiding. So let's just ask for goods for now. You can see we have to fight a pretty big battle here. It's 49 enemy troops, 15 archers, 15 spear militia, and then a bunch of peasants. Peasants are very weak, but they do throw rocks. So what I'm going to recommend here is, because we're going to go up against archers, we want to get out of their line of sight. So I'm going to reposition here behind this building, so we can get a little bit of cover, let them get closer, and then we'll charge in after them. To be able to move your party, you have to press the number, the group they're in, so 1 in this case, and then just left click on the ground. And you can see they're getting pretty close, so let's reposition here. And our javelins are just going to absolutely destroy these guys, and we'll just charge them when they get close. And then, like I said, your job, if you want to get off on foot and start fighting, that's fine, but mostly... Oh, this guy's an idiot. Most of your job is to get back here and distract these guys, especially the archers. Just let them shoot at you, and then that'll protect you guys a little bit. And then once they start fleeing like this, go ahead and pick them off. Just right alongside. Start whacking them in the head. Yeah, anybody that gets away, it's not that big of a deal, but you do get extra loot and extra prisoners if you take them out. You won't get more renown or anything, but you will get some XP and you get more loot, so might as well. Looks like we took some losses here, but not too bad. You can see the influence is pretty good. 8 influence times 140, that's what we just made here, and 5 renown. Really, really good, because we can go to all the villages they have and very quickly get to clan tier 2. It also gives us quite a few level ups. You can see our recruits, getting a good amount of recruits here. So again, we'll get everybody up to level 3. Don't level up past 3 though. Let's just leave it at that. When we start fighting enemy noble parties, we'll go past. And then they're going to go ahead and give us some of their materials. You can see we get some clay. It's not really worth anything, but I don't know. I guess it's better than nothing. And we're starting to get some decent levels here. We got medicine level 25 and leadership 50. Let's do medicine. So medicine 25 is going to be preventative medicine. It's going to be 5 hit points. And then the second part of the perk is going to give us 30% recovery of our hit points after each battle. So that one's really good. And then this leadership, there's 2 ways to look at this. I mostly ignore morale perks because they don't really help you that much. We're going to be looking at the second part, which is how fast we recruit prisoners. And in this one, I'm going to recommend to recruit prisoners, which we'll get to very soon. I would probably go Stout Defender because I would much rather recruit higher tier prisoners faster than lower tier. We could just recruit lower tier from villages, but higher tier troops are really hard to get. You have to do them manually. So if you could just get them for free by converting prisoners, that's the way to go, which like I said, we'll show you how to do that soon, but just take this one that is Stout Defender. Now we are short on troops, so we could just hire some in the meantime. Probably stay away from the horse archers. They're not going to do us a whole lot of good. So let's keep moving north, see if we can find another village here. Now you'll notice after battle, you're going to have this red arrow thing. This means that you are disorganized, and you can see down here, disorganized is giving us a really, really big movement penalty. So we're minus 1.79. So it basically makes you crawl. It's very, very risky to be in enemy territory with a small party when you have disorganized state. So always make sure you're not getting attacked by the outside when you start doing these battles, because if somebody's close to you and you get disorganized, you're going to get caught. So try to avoid that. This place looks like a pretty easy target. Let's go ahead and take some of their troops so we can fill our ranks. We'll send them up front. And I think on this one, let's ask for recruits instead of goods, because we're going to need to replace the losses that we take. Like I said, pretty low risk battle, very easy to find as well. We don't have to chase bandits for it. And then you'll notice instead of getting the screen where you take materials from them, you get the screen where you can actually just take recruits. So we'll take the recruits up to max. That way we don't run out of people. And like I said, we can throw them up front anyways. So we got to be very careful here because we could be getting attacked. Doesn't look like anybody's chasing us. So we'll just keep attacking all their villages one by one. So in this battle, I'm going to show you how to get on foot and help out. It's kind of similar to what we did last time. We're going to get our guys out of the danger zone. So there's some archers here. We want to make sure that we're not going to get blasted by them. And then when they get close, we'll go ahead and attack. So don't attack people head on. Wait till they're engaged with somebody else, and then you go behind them and start smacking them. You don't want to get into a match where you're having to block and try and get around their guard. It's really hard. Just wait for them to be engaged and then go around the side and attack them. It looks like this battle's going to be over before we even get any action. We go another 5 renown. And as I mentioned, you're going to take losses doing these because there's some pretty big parties, 40, 50, 60 is what you'd be fighting. You're going to take losses, but you can sustain if you keep asking for recruits. And it doesn't matter if they're the same matching culture. We can replace these guys later when we go back home, but they're at least filling the ranks. We got to have somebody in there. Let's keep going. You can see we're already at 64 renown. It's pretty fast. Now you'll notice as you complete these battles, especially if you're doing fast, you're going to be stacking up your influence. The influence decays at 20% per day, all the way down to a minimum of 1 per day. So it'll always do at least 1 or 20% of your total. So you can see we've got 21, it's decaying at 5, and that 5 gets multiplied by the 140 we were making before, and which is why we're making 700 dinars per day. That's not including anything else. We're making money from these villages. We're going to sell their loot. We're going to sell prisoners. We're going to make a ton of money by doing this. So like I said, getting to clan tier 1 quickly and then becoming a mercenary is pretty important if you want to make a decent amount of money and establish a good sized army. So we'll keep doing this. Like I said, there's probably not a whole lot interesting to talk about. We'll just get up to close to clan tier 2 and then we'll come back when other interesting things happen. Now, unfortunately, we were in the middle of raiding a bunch of stuff. They just declared peace. And because we're a mercenary, we don't get any say in it. So there goes that war. But we were able to get up to, 71 renown. We've got a decent amount of money coming in from our influence. So I guess we could switch over to doing quests until another war breaks out. So here's extortion by deserters. We'll take that. So same thing. Basically, you're just going to be bouncing back between doing the quests you were already doing to helping out with wars, by raiding villages and stuff, and just get your clan tier up. And then very soon we'll upgrade our troops to higher tier, and then we'll be taking on enemy noble parties. But we do also want to save up a decent amount of money too before we do that, because you can see our party wages already ballooned up to 300. Before we were around 100, but now that we're getting everybody up to clan tier 3, it is going to go up pretty fast. No losses. We got most of the kills here too. So I think what we'll do is let's do some escort merchant caravan quests. Those are going to give us probably the best bang for a buck, or caravan ambush. These are really good too. Actually, we tried to do one of those earlier and it got canceled out because we didn't have troops. So this one, you just sit outside, let them go far away. Don't follow them. If you follow them, it'll fail. And then once they get attacked, then you come in and help. So just wait for them to get attacked and then jump on it. You can see as you get more of the battle kills, you're going to get a lot more renown and influence. And our troops are really good now, so we should be able to hog most of the kills here. And as I mentioned before, you're going to make a lot of money just by selling loot because we fought so many battles and they have pretty decent loot. So we're going to make 10K from that, but we do need to spend some of it and get our supplies back up. Now, this is a situation where we don't really want to be in. I don't think we can fight these guys. They have too many cavalry. They have 48 cav. We're kind of at the bottom end of our mercenary contract. There's still a little bit of money to be had, but we could probably just cut it loose to avoid the fight. Or we could get captured and then sacrifice troops to get away. So there's 2 ways to get out of something like this when you're a mercenary. And the reason we're not actually at war with anybody, but a lot of times kingdoms will be at war with minor factions. It doesn't really count as being at war, but you still have to worry about these mercenary groups that are roaming around because you can get caught by them. Especially, there's certain ones that specialize in cavalry and mounted troops, and that means their party is going to be incredibly fast. So you can see we have, oh wow, they have a lot of prisoners too. Yeah, I don't know why they're so fast. But what I would recommend doing in situations like this is you could sacrifice troops to get away, but in this case, let's just leave the kingdom. There's not really much we could do here anyways. Just leave. Now we're no longer at war with them. We can just ignore them. We can join somebody else. Like I said, when you're in the mercenary phase, you can join anybody you want. It doesn't really make a difference. Now, one thing we want to also look out for are these hideouts, and then check around to see if they offer any good quests to clear them. So this one, these manual laborers, it's not the one we need, but we can take that one real quick to get rid of our prisoners. We got 3,300 from that. But one thing I was going to say, we're going to want to keep an eye out for quests around these because there will be quests to clear them. It'll say need help with a bandit base, or if you're near a town, the town will say associate captured by bounty hunters. So either of those quests, it's basically the same thing. You just go in and clear out a bandit hideout. So let's just assume that we were getting a quest to clear this out. What you do is you go up to it and you have to wait until nighttime to actually attack. So you just sit there and wait for a little bit, not a big deal. And what I would recommend doing is going to your party screen before you do that, upgrade some of your troops. So let's go ahead and upgrade 10 to level 4. So we want to, this will be our first tier 4 troop. You can see they don't have the throwing weapons, but they do have much better armor and better gear. So we'll take that. And then when you take out bandit hideouts, you can take up to 9 people with you. And that's why we upgraded some guys to level 4, because we're not going to want to fight this ourselves. Unless you're really skilled at the game, you can do that. If you're brand new, you're probably not that good at combat yet. So I would recommend relying on high tier troops to help you out. So you only need 9 or 10 of them, and then you're good to go. So essentially, all you're going to do is F1, F3, let these guys clear everything for you. You can go with them, but I wouldn't put yourself into too much danger. So just get your shield up and distract. Help block some of these projectiles. And maybe smack somebody once in a while. And just follow them. Now, in my testing, I've done this battle well over 20 times. Not once did I lose a single troop, so don't worry about it. If you have tier 4 troops, just send them to attack. When you clear everybody from the main map, you're going to get sucked into this cutscene where you have to fight these guys. You could fight them 1v1 if you want. You do very well. That'll fight a 1v1, but you have to do it yourself. So again, as a beginner, I don't really recommend that unless you feel extremely confident in your combat skills. I would most likely just go with I don't fight duels with brigands, and that means your whole group is going to pounce on them. So we'll take that one. Just get in there and help your guys out if you can. Just distract. Oh, we lost somebody. Wow. As I was just saying, we don't lose anybody and we just lost somebody. Well, just goes to show you can never know with this game. There's a lot of RNG involved. So we did lose somebody, but not a big deal. We can replace them. So now we need to find somebody else to join as a mercenary. As I said before, you can't join somebody if they're not at war. So the Northern Empire is no longer at war with anybody. Again, these minor factions don't count. It has to be one of the big boys. So the Western Empire, they're at war with the Southern Empire. So we could join either of these. Southern Empire is looking pretty strong right now, so they wouldn't be a bad target to join. Let's see if we can join them. Let's go ahead and join them. They're going to pay us 120, so it's not as much as we were making before, but that's just how it is. You never know what the contract's going to be. It's based off how strong you are, how much clan renown you have, and how badly they need somebody to help them in their war. For Stuart 125, we are going to take discarding weapons, so giving hands. So in the future, if you want to upgrade troops instantly, you could just buy a bunch of weapons if you have a bunch of money to throw around. Buy the weapons, donate it to your troops, and then you'll level people up quickly. I wouldn't worry about it for this guide. You're not going to really need it. Interestingly enough, I thought these guys were at war with the West, but they're at war with Sturgia, which doesn't make sense. Usually they don't go to war with people unless they're bordering them. So I don't know why we're at war with Sturgia, but that's fine. We can just keep doing quests until we get up a little bit higher. So again, if you're a mercenary, when you do these merchant escort caravans, you're going to be making a lot more money because you're going to get influence for every battle that you win as well. Okay, this is happening again. This guy's following us again. We're going to have to dump the mercenary contract. That's really annoying, but it's going to happen. So we'll just leave. We could join this guy real quick and then go back to them. We got to get back to the caravan before they get caught. There you go. We'll put our final point into intelligence. We're almost done with tactics. Like I said, you're going to level your character up really fast. You're pretty much going to be capped out at the build that I'm hoping for you to get to, and then everything after that you can put wherever you want if you want to do some combat skills or whatnot. But we're Stewart, Medicine, Leadership, and Charm, these 4. Then we're going Tactics. We got one more level. We'll have that capped out, and then we'll finish with Engineering. Now you'll see this quest, the manual laborers, when you start getting into this stage of the game, you're going to have a lot of people saved up. You can see we've got 27. We've got people from the bandit hideout. We've got people from the quest. So you'll see how much money we're going to make here. 27 people. We'll turn them all in. We're going to make almost 7,500. So like I said, when you start getting to this point, save up the higher tier prisoners and just look for a place that offers this quest, and you're going to make an absolute killing. So we're making money from quests, we're making money from loot that we're selling, we're making money from influence because we're a mercenary. It's quite easy to make money as long as you don't go overboard before you get to this point. So like I said, you'll also notice we don't need high tier troops. Like we will to fight enemy nobles, but to get to this point, just keep them at level 3 and then you'll be just fine. Yeah, we'll only need 49 more renown and we'll have clan tier 2. Now, because we have so much money saved up, I think we're just going to stay with the South. They seem to be doing pretty well here. Like I said, if you're part of a kingdom as a mercenary that's getting gobbled up, don't buy workshops. Just wait until you get to a stable kingdom. You can still serve out your mercenary contract if you're making good money there, but in this case, these guys seem pretty stable. So we're going to try and pick a fief that has high prosperity. Oh boy. So now we're at war with 2 different people. There we go. All right, let's go. We're going to pick Volstrom for the South. For the Northern Empire, Diathma is a pretty good place to put your workshop. And then for the West, Jaumatis doesn't have really high prosperity, but it's safe because it's not bordering anybody. Ortesa is actually pretty good for workshops, but you might have to babysit it. Let's go buy some workshops. So because we're part of the South, we're going to go to Volstrom. That's one of the best fiefs that they have. There we go, made it to Volstrom. Now, when you buy workshops, you're going to want to hover your mouse over these notables up here and see who owns what. So you see this guy owns a wool weavery. It says it right below their name. This guy owns a tannery, and this guy owns a brewery. In the early game, I wouldn't really worry too much about what to buy and what to produce. Just buy ones. It doesn't really matter that much. Silver mine, if they produce silver around your area, that's a really good one to have. Outside of that, whatever the AI puts, a lot of times they're okay. Like the tannery is usually a pretty good one, especially if you have animals that are getting slaughtered here. So this one also has a lot of grain, and grain turns into beer. And you can see there's 3 grains nearby. So we could just do that one. Let's buy the brewery. So you find out who owns it. You click to talk on them, and then you're going to see an option in the middle, I wish to buy your brewery. And they're going to ask for a lot of money. Just be ready. It's going to be somewhere between 20 and 30K, depending on how the prosperity is in that town. So we will accept the deal. It's going to take a big chunk out of our money, but you'll see after a couple days, it will start to produce some goods. You can find out what your workshop's actually doing by going to the clan tab right here or pressing L. In the other tab right here, here's your workshops. So Volstrom is currently not producing anything, but it will. Don't worry about all these numbers. It's not really worth even checking out. Honestly, workshops aren't that great, but we've got extra money. It's just sitting there doing nothing. Might as well earn a little bit of passive income in the meantime. And we're going to probably stay with the south in this playthrough. Most of the time I was with the north, and I was putting my workshops in Dathma. We usually got all 3 workshops there. Here we'll probably buy all 3 at Volstrom, and then in your campaign, it just depends on where you can get it safely. But like I said, money shouldn't be too big of a deal for us. So let's just keep taking quests. Escort Merchant Caravan. Level 50 medicine. Let's go ahead and take Walk It Off. That's going to give us a little bit more hit points after each battle. Just like the first one that gave us hit points, this one's going to give us even more. So if we take any damage, we'll be able to heal it. Now, after a few days have passed, your workshop should start producing goods and making a little bit of money. You can see here we're making 80 dinars. This is a number that's going to fluctuate wildly, so you can't just look at it a single day and say, oh, it's only making 80. Sometimes it'll make 200, sometimes it'll make 0, sometimes it'll make 80. It's all over the place. Like I said, workshops aren't that strong in this current patch. They haven't been for many, many patches, but there's still, it's money that would just be sitting in your account doing absolutely nothing. So you might as well put it to use. We could always switch this workshop type to something that'll produce a little bit better return in the future if we want, but for now, we'll just leave it. I wouldn't worry about it too much, as long as it's getting some kind of return. Tactics 25, take loose formation, not really an important perk. Authority, we can't really use the governor perk here, so we're going to take the party leader plus 5 size. So leadership, we're going with authority. And then Stewart 150, both of these are not really all that good. Just take 8 core. I'll have a build so you know exactly what perks to pick. You don't have to go one by one, but I'll show it all at once at the end. So, and just from that one escort merchant caravan, we pretty much filled up our prisoners here. We're going to put in 45. Let's see what this one comes to. 11,400. Holy moly. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of broken. They should probably fix that, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. It's still useful even in the later stages. You cannot turn in regular prisoners. They have to be bandits or the ones from these quests. Like you can't just get prisoners from fighting other parties. But yeah, if you can fight hideouts, if you can do those escort merchant caravan quests, you'll be making a ton of money. This is a pretty important one. At charm level 50, pick Warlord, the one on the bottom. This is going to give us plus 30 influence from battles. And as you can see, we're turning our influence into money. So this is basically going to increase our income by 30% from the mercenary contract. Very, very good one to take. Here we go. So finally, she decided to do something interesting. She's declaring war. Oh no, it's peace. Never mind. Yeah, so now we literally have nothing to do. So this is going to happen. You're going to join somebody. There are going to be a bunch of wars. You'll have way too much work to do. And then all of a sudden, all the wars will go away and you'll have absolutely nothing to do. You're going to want to switch between raiding villages when you're at war. And then when you're at peace, just go back and continue to do these quests. Find these hideouts. Clear the hideouts. If you can find the quests near the hideouts, that's even better because then you can double dip. But sometimes it's not all that easy to find. And then you get chased by this idiot again. Luckily, we had an ally nearby. Chase him off. But we're basically going to do that all the way up until Clan Tier 2 and 150 Renown. Now, they declared war. Regada declared war on the Khazate, so we can go back up there and start raiding their lands again. Like I said, just go back and forth. You're going to do quests during the peacetime, raiding and fighting during the war times. You can see our brewery is starting to put off a little bit of cash. We got 147 coming in this month instead of 80. Breweries aren't that great, but they're fairly consistent. So that's the good thing about them. And then finally, I think we're at the point where we can start taking on higher tier troops. I'm going to get everybody to max level. We've got a decent income, and that way, if we have to fight somebody in the field, we could just fight them instead of having to run the whole time. So let's go ahead and upgrade all these. I'm going to recommend with your Imperial trained infantrymen, these level 3 guys, maybe do 10 to 15 Manavletons, so the ones on the right, and then do the rest shields. You want to have more shields than anything else because that's going to help keep your guys alive. And then whatever other troops you have, just get shield infantry. It doesn't matter. But these Manavleton are basically shock troops. They're not as well defended because they don't have a shield, but they do a massive amount of damage. So it's good to have a decent mix, have a few of these guys, but have mostly shields. And then we'll just upgrade these guys to Legionary, get our tier 5 going. And you can see our party wages just basically doubled. So it's a little scary, but we've got 34k in the bank, so we should be fine. And then we're just going to keep upgrading everybody till they get to tier 5. So we got the Darkon for these guys, Elite Manavleton, and Imperial Legionary. So everybody's going to end up down here. And if you're getting tired of fighting these battles, you notice what I'm doing here. I'm just auto-resolving everything. We're going to take probably higher losses if we do it that way, but it's way faster. If you want to kind of get through some of the grind, just take it. Like you can see here, we're going to take a little bit of loss. We lost one guy, a veteran infantryman. It's not a big deal. There's so many people getting levels up that'll take his place anyway, so not the end of the world. And then just make sure you're leveling up everybody as you go. But you can see here, we're stacking up influence pretty fast. That's going to be enough to pay for party wages. And then whatever workshop income is, that's just a little icing on the cake. And then we're replacing whatever we lose right here by hiring these nomads. But you can see we're at 133. We're almost there. It only took us another few minutes. We just got to be super careful here because we might get attacked by noble parties, and we really don't want that. Oh, here we go. So we got somebody on our tail. They are faster than us. That is very, very bad. If they pick up our trail, like actually follow us, then we're going to be in trouble. Yeah, they are. So it looks like they think we're too strong because they're not actually engaging fully. They're kind of staying at a distance. So what we need to do is get out of this area as soon as possible, because if a second group does the same thing, they're going to combine their strength and then they will attack. Because we upgraded our troops to tier 5, our army is seen as much stronger now and they don't actually want to fight. So let's just get out. Hopefully we don't get sandwiched here. All right, these lake rats are going to probably just leave us alone. Yeah, they're way too weak. Here we go. Back to friendly territory. Yeah, see, here we go. So these guys would definitely come in and spoil our day. We don't want that. Okay, we should be fine. So let's see how much we got from all that looting. We got 7,500. That's not bad. We just got to replenish some of our materials here. Get rid of some of the grain because it's way too much. Yeah, see, he's still going to follow us. The AI does this thing. It's super annoying. They're not actually doing anything useful. They're just going to tail us the whole time. So we'll go back to friendly territory. That'll cause him to go away. Oh, he's actually raiding. We're very close. We only need one more renown. So I'm going to just pick on some looters here. Finish this off. They outran us. There we go. That's enough to put us into clan tier 2, I think. Oh my god, we didn't even get one renown from that. Never mind. There we go. Clan tier 2. Again, let's go start over from one of the towns. Let's get all of our money out. So sell all the loot. Let's make sure we have enough inventory. I'm going to probably start saving up to like 25 now of each item, just because I know it might be a while between when we can resupply next. We're going to want to get more troops. As I said before, every time you go up a level, you're going to get plus 25 to your party size. So let's go ahead and recruit up, and then we'll start working on phase 3. I've split the final section up into 2 parts. One where we take non-Empire culture lands, and one where we stick to Empire culture lands. There's a lot of RNG in Bannerlord, and you'll never know what will be available by the time you become a vassal. So I've included both endings for you to pick from. Check the timestamps to help skip around. We've got a decent amount of cash saved up. Let's go pick up another workshop. Let's just head straight down there and do that before we move on to the next phase. And in this case, they're both tanneries. Sometimes the AI does this. They'll buy 2 of the same workshop. If they don't make any money, we'll just swap it, but we'll take that one for now, see how it does. And I'm not really a fan of going into Khazate territory with a small army. They're generally a lot faster than you just because they have 80% horse archers. So what we'll do for the next phase, if you're fighting anybody else besides the Khazate, you could probably go in and do your typical raiding. Like I said, you've got options. You can continue to do the quests or you can go to war. And I think in this case, against the Khazate, it's probably better to stay away. Let's just go to do more quests. Now, here's another thing you can do. You can go hunt these guys down, these minor factions. So you're going to be at war with people, even if it's not the major ones. You can hunt down 3. Looks like these guys are at war with 3. Usually, every faction's at war with these guys, as long as they're not part of another kingdom. So eventually, these guys will get hired out by somebody else, and they'll get pulled off this list, and you'll just be at war with them through somebody else. But you can see that these 2 are pretty easy to pick off. They're very, very weak. They use weak troops. So let's go hunt this guy down. Yeah, we are faster than M2. So
Sorry.
now this is the part where you can kind of deviate from what I'm going to do. If you want to fight this in person and practice, I think that's probably a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and auto-resolve because I want to get my stats up a little bit higher. You'll notice when we auto-resolve, we're probably going to take a few more losses. Actually, not that bad. We only lost 8, but it's going to give us decent tactics and medicine skill. And we're going to get a lot more casualties in terms of prisoners. So auto-resolve will pretty much always generate more prisoners than if you do it in person, so that's never a bad thing. We could also just let this guy go, and that'll give us some skill. So 11 points of charm. I think we'll start doing that from now on as well. And then anybody we lost, since we're going to be auto-resolving, I don't really care what the troop type is anymore. If you're fighting in person, it's a little bit easier to keep track of who you've got by having all the same type. But when you're auto-resolving, it really doesn't matter what troop you have. Just literally jam anybody that's got a pulse in your party. And then what we'll probably do is sell anything below a tier 4. There we go. So we're going to sell all the prisoners. Actually, no, let's sell, we'll keep the tier 5 and the tier 6. Everybody else will sell. One thing that we also need to keep an eye out for is companions. It's probably a good time to start picking people up. We're going to need somebody to run our party. We're mostly looking for people that have intelligence. So, 3, 4 intelligence is good. This lady doesn't really have it, unfortunately. So we'll probably just hang under for now, but it's probably better to get rid of her and replace her if we find somebody better. So we want Stewart and medicine. That's really important because these people are going to be running our new party. So we'll keep an eye out for that. So again, I'm going to edit most of this out, but what we're doing right now is we're trying to keep our income up by getting more mercenary contracts done, fighting more battles, completing quests, and we're also looking for companions at this point. We're just going to go town to town, wait for this war to die down, because, like I said, I don't want to go to war with Kazate. It's just a little bit too risky. One thing we don't have in our main party is a scout, so I went ahead and picked up this lady. She's got some scouting skill, and she's a very low level, so we'll be able to customize her however we want. Now, once you pick somebody up that you want to fulfill a role within your party that you don't want to handle with your main character, you have to go to the clan tab, so press L, or this button right here, and then go to the parties tab up here, and then your main party will be selected automatically, and then there's these 4 roles that you can choose. So in this case, we have somebody we want to handle scouting, and you can see if you hover your mouse over, it'll tell you what their scouting skill is. See, all these people have terrible scouting skill, except for the person in the very front. They usually order it by who's got the highest skill. So she's going to be the main one. So she'll be our scout, and our main character is going to handle the other 3. Now this is one of those times where you might want to be careful where you take your quests. So we're right next to the Kazate territory. This caravan wants to go all the way to Ortengard, meaning we'd have to go through enemy territory. We don't have to go in the town ourselves. We just have to protect this thing. So it might become a problem if we go through enemy territory. We'll have to avoid getting captured, but we can try it, I guess. And again, we're just going to auto-resolve everything. I'm going to stay right here. I don't want to go too close to that town. He's going to pop back out. They're going to go to Chicon next. See which direction this guy's going. He said, we don't want to get into any big fights here if we can avoid it. I think that's the last one. I don't really want to be here any longer. I'm going to back out. If we end up failing the quest, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, actually, he's going to go to one more. It's going to go to Onira, though. That should be a safer one. So this should be the last one. And because we've been collecting so many prisoners, we're going to go find one of those. We'll find somewhere to drop those guys off. Oh, they're going to another town. So as you do more of these quests, they're going to expect you to do a longer quest. So like before it'd be maybe 2 towns. Now I think this is 5 towns that we've gone to. Here we go. This is 12,000. This should be the last one. There we go. Made almost 7 grand for that, and I can imagine the amount of loot. We're probably going to sell about 15k. Oh, 10k. So not bad. It may not be as fun as going to war, but when you're facing the risk of horse archer only army with low tier troops, it's probably not a good idea to combat that. So just keep doing these quests, especially the ones where you can double up on. We just got 14k for turning in prisoners. We're going to do another one. This will probably be another 6 or 7k. Yeah, 10k for that. So we're able to maintain our income and then put a little bit of money back in the bank. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably cut here, and then as soon as we go to war with somebody else, I'll show you what the next step is. Like I said, if anybody but Kazate, we would be going to war right now. Now here's an interesting situation. These guys are much stronger than the Kazate army. They just can't catch them, so we can help. They're close enough to where when we engage, they're all going to be part of the same battle. So you can see we caught these guys. They actually caught up to us, and our allies caught up to us, and we're able to help. So if you can snag little battles like this, it'll make a big difference. Again, I'm just going to auto-resolve this this just to make our life easier, but if you want to fight it in person, just make sure your troops stay near you. Pick one side of the battle and stay there. Stay safe, don't go in the front melee. But you can see the auto-resolve, we're going to get a massive amount of levels here. A lot of tactics. Only lost 13 people, so it's not that big of a deal. And then, like I said, we've got all these people we could take and donate, or we could just release. Just going to release just to make life easy. For Charm 75, doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to take meaningful favors, but it's not really a big deal either way. And there you go. You can see just that one battle. Even though we lost 18 people, it's going to net us 15,000. That's definitely worth it. Now, this is a big one. Medicine level 75. We're going to take Doctor's Oath. It's going to give us a little bit of hit points, which isn't that big of a deal. But now our medicine skill is going to apply to enemy casualties, which is going to give us more prisoners. It's also going to give us more medicine because everybody that we save in battle will also increase our medicine XP. So we'll take Doctor's Oath. And you should see our medicine skill increase quite drastically from now on. Now, what we could do is we could hang around the front line. Actually, we could do that a little bit. They don't seem to have too strong an army because we just wiped out one of the big ones. And I haven't seen any big parties roaming around. So why don't we just hang out here for a little bit. What we probably want to do is I would recommend before you swap over from being a mercenary to a vassal, meaning as soon as we hit clan tier 2, we can become a vassal, which is what we're going to do. You want to make sure you have enough money saved up because we're going to lose that mercenary contract. Once we become a vassal, we're no longer making income just by having influence. So we're going to be saving influence so we can vote on, getting fiefs and things like that. So I would recommend saving up like 60, 70K, something like that. At least 50,000 is the bare minimum, but I would probably go higher than that and have a couple workshops. So like I said, those workshops aren't producing a whole lot of money, but it is reducing the amount of money we have to shoulder every single month. So instead of having to pay 900, we're only going to have to pay close to 700. So it does make a difference. And Regea is in the town of Onira, so we just need to go down there if we want to switch over to being a vassal. But why don't we handle this first? I think these guys are going to be able to take this if we leave. So what we're going to do is babysit. This is what I recommend doing in the early game. Help your kingdom out. Oh, here comes a big army. So let's back off, let them assault. Yep, there they go. So that's a big enough army. For sure, they're going to assault that. And this is going to give us some pretty good stats if the fight actually goes through. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to wait for these numbers to start going down. You can see that means that they're assaulting. Let's see if we can get a better view of that. There, you can see the numbers just tick down twice after, 1 second. So that means they're assaulting. We need to go up to the castle, break in to help the defenders. Again, we're going to lose some troops right off the bat. Not a big deal though. You might think this is a bad fight for us to take. If we lose 25 troops, we're still going to have about 100. So it'll be about 250 versus 500. We should be able to handle that. So we'll go ahead and sacrifice the troops. And then we're going to come in here and fight. We're outnumbered about 2 to 1, which is probably okay. Now, this one I highly recommend auto-resolving. Don't fight these in person. It's just not worth it. It's really hard to win sieges now. But if you're auto-resolving, you're going to win it pretty easily. You can see here our kills are outstripping the deaths. So we should be fine. It's a pretty close fight, actually. That was maybe a little bit too close. We have only 5 people left. Now, only 32 people died. So 59 of those are injuries, and they'll recover. But we helped our kingdom keep a piece of land because they would have lost this fief for sure. Not only that, but we got a massive amount of XP for this. And again, I think at this point, let's just let people go. You can see we're gaining a lot of charm by doing that. There we go. So we went up to 113. So we gained like 20 something levels. So yeah, you're basically trading your troops' lives for XP and money, which I think is probably okay at this point. And now we only want to take the higher tier troops. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to carry too many of them because we did take some losses here. So we only have room for 13 prisoners, but that's fine. So we have a lot of injured. Why don't we wait here in the castle so we can get our bonus to healing rate? And then you can see right here, we got a lot of influence from that. So we're going to make a lot of money. And our party wage. Let's see what it is when we go back up to fully healed. We have that perk that gets rid of everybody's wages when they're injured. So even then, we went from 900 down to 587. So we took some pretty heavy losses there. For Charm 100, let's go ahead and take Young and Respectful. There's going to be more males that we're going to be dealing with. So we'll get an easier chance of negotiating with them. Famous Commander, this is a really good perk, especially in the early and mid game when at all times, because when you recruit people, you're going to get plus 200 XP for them, and a tier 1 troop needs 300 XP to level up. So basically every 3 troops you hire at level 1, 2 of them are going to immediately upgrade to level 2. That speeds your level up process by quite a bit. So we'll take Famous Commander. It's also going to give us 50% renown gain. So we're going to go from clan tier 2 to clan tier 3 a lot faster. And then medicine level 100. This one's not that big of a deal, but take good lodging. Healing while in settlements is much more important. And then we're almost done with engineering. We have one more point to go. We'll have that maxed out. So now we need to quickly go around and snap up some more recruits. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go to the keep because that's where she's hiding. Let's talk to her, and we're going to upgrade our contract from a mercenary to a vassal. So we come here, something I'd like to discuss, and then I want to be more than a mercenary. So it should be toward the top. Pick that. I'm ready. This is going to have you click a bunch of nonsense dialogue. And then we do get a couple free troops, so we'll take those. Now what we need to do is hire a second party, because now that we're a vassal, we're able to pull people into an army. Normally, if you want to recruit people into your party, you have to spend influence. And you can see we don't have a whole lot of influence, so we wouldn't be able to keep them in our party very long. So what we want to do is create our own parties, and then calling parties of your own clan into an army doesn't cost you any influence. So it's basically free. So to be able to do that, we go to our clan tab or press L, go to parties, and we're going to create a new party here. Now we got to figure out who we're going to be sending. We don't want to send our scout. She needs to stay in our party. Neither of these ladies are any good at leading a party, so it doesn't really matter. They're both equally bad, but it's better. Bad is better than not being able to send them. So let's go ahead and give them some troops. We're going to transfer as many troops as they can take. They go, so 50 out of 50, we'll take it. Now what we want to do is come down here to these 3 flags and then sort it by cost, and you can see if you have it go to the top. This lady costs 0 because, like I said, they're our own clan. You don't have to pay money to have your own clan join you. So we'll join. She's now in our army. So we have pretty much the same size party as we did before, but now we can recruit troops up, the ones that we donated, so we can go even higher than where we were before. So what we're going to do is go around, collect even more troops till we're maxed out. And we got to be real careful here because, as I mentioned, we no longer have the mercenary contract. So we are not making money from that. So all the money that we have is just going directly. There's nothing to offset it other than those workshops that we bought. It says we have settlement income. Oh, they gave us a fief. Wow. We literally just became a vassal and they immediately donated us something that they took. So, I mean, we'll take it. It's not probably not a great fief, but it's fine. If you don't like a fief that they gave you, you can just donate it back to them as well. And you'll notice we haven't fought in a while, but it says that we have a ransom offer. That's because we have a castle that probably has somebody in the dungeon. Yeah, we have a lot of people in the dungeon, actually. So why don't we do this? You could either accept the money like this. You're going to make quite a bit that way. You can see this guy wants to pay 4,000 to get free. We'll decline. Why don't we take these guys and just donate them ourselves? We can go to Onira. Let's get on the good side of our Lord Liege. So we come here, keep dungeon, we'll donate. This is going to make her pretty happy. We're going to get 24 influence, which is no longer converted into money, but you'll see we get quite a few charm, and it's going to give us a big increase to relations. So now Rigea's family really likes us. Now, the next perk, the 125 charm perk, Firebrand, is really, really good. So we're going to take this one. It's going to reduce the amount of influence we have to spend to start kingdom decisions, where basically those are policies. We'll probably won't get into that in this one, but just know policies are really, really good if you get good policies. And then it's also going to increase the recruitment at rural towns. So like over here, we're going to get an extra recruitment slot. So now what we want to do is focus on helping defend our territory. So we're going to be a good vassal. These guys are getting attacked again. That is too much. If we break into that, we're going to lose our whole army. So that's not worth it, especially considering most of our troops are low tier because we just lost half our army. Oh, but here's one thing that you have to be very wary of. When you're playing with the AI, they make terrible decisions. But in this case, you can help speed up good decisions. So right now, if you zoom out, it doesn't look like we're sieging anything down, but we do have a town that's being sieged and they're actively assaulting it. So if we wait another 10, 15 seconds, this town's going to go away. We will absolutely lose this town. However, there is a peace deal that is currently pending. We could speed it up by clicking on it, and we could wait 30 hours before it goes to vote, or we could vote on it immediately. Oh, they don't want to vote. They don't want peace. That's really stupid. Yeah, usually when they call the vote, it's because it'll go through. But now, if this was a yes vote, we could immediately end the war and that siege would end. But they voted no. The nobles don't want it. So it is what it is. We're going to lose that fief. But that's something that you can keep an eye out for. Whenever you see a peace deal, always make sure you zoom out, see, are your people sieging anything down? And if they are, you probably want to wait till that fief gets taken and then kick the vote through. But in this case, we're the ones losing the fief and nobody wants to go to peace. So it is what it is. Let's go down and check out our fief. We got to defend it. Probably get some of the buildings set up properly. Oh, there it goes. They're sieging our own fief now. Hopefully we have enough troops to defend it. We may not though. Oh yeah, we do for sure. So again, we outnumber him by a lot. We're just going to auto-resolve. Now, Montrug is worth a lot of money. He's also worth a lot of influence. So if we wanted to, we could donate him and get a massive amount of charm. I think it's probably worth it. You do run the risk that he escapes, though. So we could just get the influence right now, let him free, and then we'll get a pretty big relations boost with him, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Let's just let him go. It only gave us 4 charm. That's a little disappointing, actually. But that's all right. So when you go to your fief, this is a castle. It's going to be a little different if you get a town first, but essentially you're going to do the same thing. You need to come up here and manage your, it'll say manage town instead of manage castle if you have a town. But manage castle, you'll see there's some construction projects going on right now. That's what this little hammer icon is. We want to get rid of all that. So right click on the active one, do the 1, and then do the plus sign. And that's basically going to clear that out of our queue. You can see right here, if we have a bunch of projects lined up, it'll show over here in the queue. Get rid of the queue. Don't build anything in the beginning. You're going to want to switch it down to these daily defaults. So you can get prosperity or militia or loyalty or more growth for the villages. In my personal opinion, I would probably focus more on militia or loyalty if it's a town. Castles cannot rebel, so you don't really have to worry about loyalty too much. In this case, I would probably go train militia. I don't really care about the loyalty. We're not going to make much money from this place, but that's not really a big concern. We'll probably end up giving this castle back at some point and then just swapping it out for a town. I'll show you how to do that. But by leaving it on train militia, you can see here we're going to get +3 militia. We only have 58 right now. That's not enough. So we need a lot more people to help defend. All right, let's wait inside our castle, get some healing done. Go. And we have a little bit of a garrison here. We probably don't want to have any garrison because this castle is not making any money at all. You can see right here, settlement taxes, we're making 21. Actually, if we go down here, settlement income, we're making 190 gold. That's just not enough. So the garrison we can't afford. So what we'll do is we'll just periodically pull troops from here until it's down to 0. It will weaken the fief a little bit, but that's why we're putting our militia to train. So hopefully that'll even that out. Also, you'll notice our other party's troops went down. She should be capping out around 50. If you're not sure how many troops they can hold, just go to your clan tab, go to parties, and you'll see it right here. So 39 out of 53. She can hold a few more troops. We can donate troops to her directly because it's going to be hard for her to recruit them. Sometimes they do it a little slow. So just click on her picture, donate troops, and then you can slide troops over. So we'll do that. We'll fill back up from the garrison. Here we go. For Stuart 200, let's take contractors. Neither of these are particularly that good. If you're going to be using a lot of mercenary troops, this can be really good. Mercenary troops aren't that good. I guess if you use them at auto resolve, they can be pretty good though. So this would reduce your wages with them by 25%. So we'll take that. Now we just got to keep an eye out. We're getting siege down. We have to come back and defend. We're basically playing border guard at this point because we can't go off and siege a town. We're just going to get captured. But we can definitely help our kingdom though by playing defense and breaking into castles and helping with auto resolve on defense. But let's go ahead and make some money here, and we got to make sure we have enough food and all that. But we should be fine. We're gonna make a lot of money. 37k. They don't even have enough money to buy all the stuff that we want to sell. And then also you'll notice with these battles, we're picking up a lot of horses for free. So we probably don't have to pay for horses ever again. There you go. We'll take 34k. So even though we don't have an income anymore, because we're doing big battles like this, we should be making more money. And also you'll notice this town has very bad loyalty. This thing's gonna rebel. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to keep this. The AI is terrible at keeping towns that are of the wrong culture. So unless you can pass good policies to counter it, you're just never going to hold them. Oh, here we go. So we're getting attacked. We only have 81 defenders. So this is not going to end well, actually. I don't think we can break in to defend this either. If we break in, we're going to have about 200 troops versus 577. I would probably not recommend going into battle against more than a 2-to-1 ratio. So in this case, we could, if they were closer to 400, we could probably take it. But anything over 400, I wouldn't risk it. But let's see, we'll wait. If anybody comes to help, we can help fight the battle, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to assault. Well, here comes one maybe. All right, they're sending another army, so this castle's pretty much done. Again, if we break in, how many troops is it going to cost us? 32 troops. That'll take us down to 140. There's 80 in there right now. So that put us at 220, which means we could fight up to maybe 440, which is, yeah, they got 100 more than that. So we're going to back out. Now, you don't want to lose the castle because if you're in possession of a castle that gets lost, you lose relation with your king or queen. And I believe they take influence away from you. So what you can do is go over to your kingdom tab, which is this button on the right, or press K, and then find your fief in here. You can see we're all the way at the bottom, Erzanur. If you click on that, this option comes available, this giveaway button. So we're going to go ahead and give away this fief. Yeah, we don't want it. Somebody else can have it. And if you want to vote on one of these, you can. Anytime you vote, you're going to get influence with the person you vote, or you're going to gain relations with the person you vote for, and you'll lose relations with the people that you voted against. Or you could just abstain, let them spend their influence. And now that fief is no longer in our possession, but it's fine because it wasn't going to be ours for long anyways, because they're going to absolutely take this. Also, you don't want to keep castles if you can avoid it. It's good to have a castle if there's nothing else available, but we want to swap this castle for a town. Like Odok would be good, or if we go to war with somebody else, like maybe down here at Asarai, we take some of those, or some of the other Empire towns. So if you get a castle, just always know that it's going to be temporary. Ooh, that was close actually. So the AI, again, not the brightest. He's probably going to go siege this and then get killed by these two. So we're just going to let him do his thing. For level 150 charm, this one's not really that important. Other one would be fine. If you're going to use mercenaries a lot, this one's fine. So Slick Negotiator makes it cheaper to hire them. If you're going to be clearing hideouts, effort for the people is okay. They're both not really that great, to be honest. So I just go for effort for the people. And we did hit level 16, so we're going to start putting points into social. We'll put that up to 6, and then our final point into engineering. And at this point, your build is pretty much done. You can put the points, the rest points wherever you want. If you want to start going into combat, you could do that. As a general rule of thumb, by the end game, you should be around level 25 to 30. So just imagine you're going to have another 10 points to spend, 10 to 15 points, and then obviously however many attribute points. Although the attribute points, I would continue to funnel into the social. I would at least get to 7 so that you can get the final perk here. So you need at least 7 points and 5 focus points to be able to reach 275. And 275 is usually where all the good perks are. But for the focus points, just put them wherever you want. But one thing before I forget, when you start an army, you're going to have this thing called cohesion. It starts out at 100%, and then every day it'll decay a certain amount based on how many troops you have. The more troops you have, the more decay. It'll decay faster. When you have troops from other kingdoms or other clans in your party, you'll have to pay some influence to increase the cohesion. But if it's your own clan party, it's going to cost you 0. So just make sure that this thing never goes to 0. So you can do that by clicking this button, and then up here you add 10. You just keep clicking that, click done, and then you'll boost your cohesion. Yeah, and like I said, this guy was pretty much doomed. It looks like they got captured, so we took a pretty big loss there. And these guys are sieging this town, or this castle down again. It's probably going to get killed as well. The AI is pretty bad, so really your main job at this point is to help on defense and just let the AI siege stuff down. As soon as you get a bigger army, then you can go siege stuff down by yourself. But in the early vassal stages, your main goal is to just stay on the front line and then help defend these fiefs that the AI will refuse to defend. We can go pick off these little parties as we can catch them. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier. There's a peace deal again for the Khazates. We're currently sieging a town down, and none of our other fiefs are being sieged. So we want to delay this vote as long as we can until this goes through. Hopefully the siege goes through. I don't think they have enough troops to do it though. Well, they're doing it. They might. So you can see here, it doesn't make sense to call the peace deal because the siege is ongoing. They might actually be able to do it. Maybe we can help them at the last second. When it comes to voting for who gets a fief, they base it on how many fiefs you currently have. If you're a player, you get a little bit of a bonus to showing up on the vote list. If you help take the town, that helps you get on the vote list as well. So there's a lot of factors. If we wanted to get this thing back, we could help. So we just basically click on the whatever it is that's being sieged, join, and then we can fight it or auto-resolve. I'm just going to auto-resolve it. So we'll take a few losses, but not really that big of a deal. And now that the fief is in our possession, now would be a really good time to let that peace deal go through. So let's go ahead and force this one through. And they're actually going to pay us quite a bit of money. It goes to the full kingdom, so 6,200, and that'll have to be distributed by however many clans are in the kingdom. But we'll get a piece of that. And again, we're just going to make sure that our party is topped up. So make sure she's full. And this castle should go back to us because we owned it before. Owning a town or a fief or whatever, if it gets lost, you should be pretty high up on the list. And it looks like it's going to go right to us. And again, it's going to be pretty beat up. It's not going to be making a whole lot of money, so we don't want to really have a garrison in there. Now, it'll make your fief weaker, but that's not really a concern because we'll end up giving it away if it's about to get taken anyways. We just want to make some money off of it in the meantime, so let's drain the garrison as best we can. There we go. We'll leave 12 people in there for now. And then again, back to this. Make sure you turn off all the buildings. Just leave it on train militia or festival and games if it's a town. Castles, I think train militia is probably the best. So we should be able to get a decent garrison in here. Now that it's peacetime, there's not a whole lot for us to do. We just have to go around and complete quests. We can continue to do things that'll give us some influence as well. We need to increase our clan tier. Again, there's nothing special at clan tier 3, but we do get another clan party, so we can hire another party here and increase our total army size by about 50 or 60, so that'll be good. We should probably go around looking for a better companion to lead this party because she has no skills in Stewart, no intelligence, no medicine. We really want to have a companion that's got all that. So let's go take a look. And again, we could continue to hunt these minor factions down. It's gonna be hard to catch them though because we're such a big party now. Now would also be a good time to pick up a spouse. So what we're gonna want to do is go to towns and castles and see if they've got any available females that are unmarried. This one's just a guy. You can check and see if somebody's married by right-clicking on them and then scroll to the bottom. You'll see their family, father, mother, brother, sister. So this guy's single. If we were a female character, we could try and get married to him. Let's actually go back to Onira, see if there's anybody up there. Yeah, there's a lot of people here. So hopefully there's some single people. Ira is usually single. Yeah, so that's Regea's daughter. So I'll show you how to try to marry somebody. You want to talk to them, and then you'll see an option right here. I'd like to discuss something. Oh, I guess we can't marry her. It's because we're part of an army. If you want to try and do marriage proposals, you have to dismiss your troops. So let's go ahead and dismiss her from the army, and let's try it again. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, so now you can see we get an extra option here. I wish to profess myself as an admirer. Either of these are fine. I wish to offer my hand in marriage. There you go. Now you have to talk to her 2 more times. So you could do one right away. You have to pass some chat checks. So I'm so glad I have the chance to spend time together. So we'll click on that. And now you can see we need to pass 3 chat checks. They're pretty high though, 70% chance, almost 80%. We should be okay. Oh, we failed right at the end. We had like an 89% and it failed. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to the percentages. They're definitely not accurate in my experience. But anyways, there's other people here we could try to get married to. So you can see she's got a spouse, so she's not going to work. This lady's single. She's only 19. That's good. Generally, younger is better. The younger they are, the more likely they are to have kids. And the longer you'll have for, you know, obviously avoiding old age death. So let's see if we can get married to her. Yeah, see, it did it again. Another 89% fail. And it's the exact same chat check. It feels like there's ones that are predetermined. They're already going to pass or fail no matter what you click on. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to the numbers on these things. It's kind of BS. All right, this lady is single as well, so we're just going down the list. We're burning through our options here. Now we already know this middle one is going to be an automatic fail, even though it's a 79% chance to pass. So if you notice that, don't pick that one anymore. Try one of the other ones. So like this one, we did the top option and it let us go through. So gotta love Bannerlord math. It's a Tailworld's math. So we passed the first one. We have to wait for like 1.5 to 2 days before we can do the second chat check. So let's call our lady back into our army so she doesn't get snapped up by somebody else. Parties that are in your clan can actually get called into other people's armies, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that we're in control of them the whole time. So just call them back into your army, and when it's time to do the chat again, just kick them out. So we'll wait for 2 days, see if she's still in there. No, she left. The lady we were trying to marry just left. She went to Morenia Castle. We're gonna have to go follow her now. Yeah, she's down here. So you can see by having a very small garrison at that castle, we're actually making money from that. So we're still losing money overall because of our party's really big. You know, we're paying about 1,100. Yeah, you can see the garrison wages is only 40, but we're making about 400 from the castle or 60. So we're definitely net positive on the castle. So that's why I recommend on the castles, especially if you're not at war, just drain the garrison and then make as much money from the castle as you can. All right, let's continue onward here. All right, so she's not actually there. She might be out and about. I don't know where this lady went. All right, we went to war with Odok. So somebody rebelled. Yeah, I told you before this town was going to rebel for sure. So if we take it back, we might be on the vote. And if we can keep that town for our clan, that would be really, really nice. We'll take an easy fight here, though, against this minor faction. Yeah, 5 losses. And it's not even 5 losses because we're going to get all those troops back right now. So let's head over there and try and help. Somebody's going to form an army and go siege it down. We want to make sure we're part of that siege so that we can potentially get on the list to vote. So we'll hang out, wait for this thing to finish, and I'll show you what we can do to help speed this up a little bit. So they're sieging already. That's good. We don't want to join right away because that unfortunately will chew through all of our troops, and I'd rather chew through the AI's troops because they don't use them well anyways. So what we're going to do is just keep an eye on this town. As soon as the defenders get down to maybe 100 or less, we're going to help them. We'll jump in so that we could at least be participants in the siege. It'll make it look like we tried to help. There we go. About 100. So we want to come in here. join the continued siege. You can see there's only 69 left. If we send troops, we didn't even lose a single troop. So we had 0 losses ourselves. And now it looks like we actually helped. So we got 2 options here. We could cross our fingers and hope we show up on the vote and then hope that we actually get it, or we could give our castle away and make ourselves look like an even better target to get this fief. The only downside is I don't know who owned it before, and if they were here helping take the siege back, they're probably going to get voted to get this thing. Like I said before, castles are really not that good. You don't want to keep them, so I would much rather have a chance to get a town than to keep a castle that I know we're going to give away eventually anyways. So let's go for it. It's a risk. Like I said, you may not get it, so just be aware. So Erzanur, we're going to give it away again. Now let's see, we got to speed up time a little bit, and there's the vote. Nice. So we actually show up on the vote and we're at the top of the list. We don't have to spend any influence. However, let's say if we swap places, let's say this was not us, we were in this place right here, we were 30% against 60. We could technically sway the vote a little bit by putting some of our influence in. You can see by clicking on this, you could put 20 influence, 60 or 100. We have 140 to spend, so we could technically spend influence here. Now, we're not going to do it in this case because we want to get the fief, so we'll abstain. But if you need to put a little influence to sway it to you, you can do it like that. So done. Now we are the proud owner of a town that is not in great shape. Yeah, it's definitely not in great shape, but it's okay. We'll make it work. So with towns, you have to be very careful here. So we're going to go to manage town. Again, we're going to turn everything off. So you do the 1 and then the plus sign, and that will completely clear the queue. And you want to switch this over to festival and games. You can see right now loyalty is very high because it was a rebellion town, but this is going to come down pretty low. We need to keep this on festival and games, otherwise we will lose this town just like the AI does. There's a couple things we could do to fix this place up nicely. You probably want to put a fairgrounds first, but again, you're going to need to keep it on festival and games for quite a while. So I would probably, for the purposes of this guide, when you get a town, just leave it on this. If it's a castle, leave it on trained militia. If it's a town, leave it on festival and games. You're still going to make money on it. Like if you look right here, we're still net positive. Well, actually our garrison's really big. Yeah, we probably need to reduce that garrison a bit because that's kind of a lot if we want to maintain this place as profitable. Yeah, which is fine. We can easily just take troops out and get rid of them. Not a big deal. But let's let a couple days go by and see what everything shakes out to. If we're not losing too much money, we'll just keep them because we do have 100k in the bank just about. We got to go find this lady, see if we can get married. So Lysian, there we go. So we found her. We can... Remember, don't forget to get rid of your army. We're going to come here and discuss future together. Now, I would probably recommend save at this point before you do this. Save it, because these chat checks the second time around are much harder. We'll probably end up failing this, but if you save it, you can save scum. Just come back and try it again. So let's try it. All right, we got lucky there. And the second one, yeah, you can see critical fail. So we don't get married this time, unfortunately. But essentially, if that does go through, she'll tell you who you need to talk to, and then you'll basically go negotiate a price to get married to that person. And then as long as you pay enough money, you can do it. The other option is we can find somebody that's the head of their clan, and we could just ask them to marry whoever we want to marry. We can just ask for it. We just have to pay more. So like if you do the chat checks, it's cheaper. If you pay, it's more direct, but you do it a lot faster. So let's go back to Onira, see if Reggae wants to marry somebody off. We'll see how expensive it is. So yeah, there's 2 options when it comes to getting married. Oh, she left. Now again, same thing. You're not going to see the option to get married here if you're in an army. So make sure you disband your army. So here we go. It's going to show up as I would like to propose an alliance through marriage. And then my own hand. If you have companions or if you have family members that are unmarried, you can marry them off by doing it like this. But we're going to do our own hand. And Vasilia, we don't know who she is. If you're not sure, you can just click on her. So she's 20 years old. She's got some steward skill. That's pretty good. Yeah, she looks like she's going to be a good one. So let's see. Hopefully it's not too much. She's asking for 22 grand, almost 23k. It's a big chunk of our money, but let's just do it. I want to show you what it's like to get married. So you'll get this cutscene. Oh, we forgot our clothes. Whoops. So it uses the clothes in your civilian setting. So obviously we stripped ourselves naked. So we're getting married like that. So we just got married. But we need to figure out where she is. So if you click on your clan tab, you can see right here she's regrouping, which means she was running a party before, and the AI needs to get rid of the party first. So give her a couple days, and then we can call her into our party. So let's just hang out. Actually, let's go chase this rebel faction guy right here. So that's the Odok rebels. Yeah, we'll take him out. Now, because we've been fighting some big battles, we got 27k saved up in loot. So you can see once you get rid of your mercenary contract, it's not as big of a deal if you're able to fight good battles, because you're just going to make so much money from loot, and you'll make a little bit of money from your thief, assuming you don't have a massive garrison. Now, a couple days have passed. You can see this lady landed in Odok. We can go back there ourselves, or we can click this button right here to recall her. If we do that, she'll spend a day and 9 hours getting to us, which is fine. So let's call her back to our party. There you go. She joined our party. Now, she actually has better skills, I believe, than the person we are currently using to run a party. So let's see what that looks like. No, she doesn't, actually. She's only got 2 intelligence. Yeah, she's not that good. She's better at fighting, which is not really that useful. It's much better to have somebody that's good leading a party. One person that can get an extra 5 kills in the battlefield is not anywhere near as useful as somebody that can field an extra, 50 to 100 troops. So I'd much rather have somebody that's good at leading a party than this. So it's fine. Like I said, I just wanted to demonstrate how to get married in this, and I think that helped. Now, the final thing before we end this guide, I want to go to war one more time and show you how to defend your fief, because that seems to be the biggest issue with newer players, is they know how to get a fief because they'll just have one given to them through votes, but they don't necessarily know how to hold on to them. And it mostly has to do with just being patient and defending through sieges. But we could also spend some time fixing this town up, because that's one of the things we're going to have to focus on. We are losing money, and if you look at the garrison here, it's pretty hefty, and there's a lot of high tier troops in here as well. Yeah, I'd be ashamed to just dump these guys, but we might have to. We're okay on money right now. We can survive, so we'll keep the garrison for now. We can draw from them. Usually what I like to do is use the garrison troops to replace losses from battle, so that we're not having to recruit and upgrade these guys. They'll have a small drain on your economy in the short term, but in the long term, I feel like it's better to do it that way. But if you want to just get rid of them, you can come here to garrison, just literally drain everybody, pull everybody into your party, go to your party screen, and just start dumping people left and right like this. There you go. So we're going to throw away 236 troops. A little bit painful, but now we're profitable. Here we go. We're going to go to war with the north. So what we're going to do is start heading over that way. So Northern Empire border is up here. Again, we don't want the war to start until we're in a decent position. So let's just let it, it'll go on its own. There we go. So I don't know who's going to get attacked first. Looks like there's an army forming here. We're going to be mostly just playing defensively and trying to help the AI hold stuff that they take. You can see there's a pretty big push down here. Let's go stay with our troops. And if we see a siege pop up, we'll come over here and help. All right, Reggae is going for it. You can see the AI responded, but we have a huge army. This is a big battle. Wow. And they're going to take this, but you'll see shortly after, they're not going to do a good job holding it. Oh boy, this is going to be a nasty battle. Oh, they're coming after us instead of fighting. Typical Bannerlord. Yeah, you got to be careful. The AI defaults to attacking you over the enemy, even though the enemy would be a much more strategic option. So I don't know why they do that. Oh, they're actually fighting now. So let's see if we can help. This might not be a good battle to help with. Yeah, you can see we have a slight advantage here. And again, you could fight this if you want. This is going to be a very epic battle. Definitely would be a lot of fun. It would take way too long for this guide. So I'm just going to auto-resolve. And we're going to slow down here and make sure that we actually are winning. Yeah, it looks like we are. So our kills are ahead of theirs and we have more troops. So you just keep an eye on that for a little bit. It's going to be really close, actually. If things start to go south on you, you need to hit this retreat button and then just back out. Yeah, this is going to be really close. I would probably have to watch this all the way to the bottom. Even if you don't win the battle, it's not the end of the world. You are getting a lot of skill XP down here. You can see it's, yeah, we're not going to lose this. We actually have to back out. It's very close, but yeah, let's back out. So not a good fight. That's fine. We took some losses, but we got some XP out of it. We got a lot of medicine and tactics skill out of it. So there goes our army. Yeah, this kingdom's going to be in big trouble. They just lost literally every troop they had. So now would be a good time to go back and take those troops from our garrison if we still had them. Obviously, we deleted them, but that's why I said it's probably a good idea to keep them and then just use them to replenish. So you would go back, pull from the garrison, and just get back out on the battlefield. But as it stands, yeah, there goes that big battle. We just lost it. You can see a bunch of people got captured. And then the Asteroid just declared war on us. So this is pretty typical. What's going to happen? You're going to have to bounce around a lot. The AI is going to make some really bad choices, and you're going to have to try and plug the gaps that are created from their mistakes. So let's just recruit what we can, make sure our clan party has enough troops, and then we'll recruit up to the max. This is a pretty big perk here. Leader of the Masses is really good if you're going to end up owning a lot of towns. But if you're just playing like a normal game, you're probably not going to have more than 3 or 4. So I would instead go with presence. This is going to give you a +5 security per day while you're waiting in a town. And it also gets rid of the morale penalty for recruiting prisoners of your own faction. So anytime you recruit Empire troops, we're not going to take a morale hit for that anymore. So this is a really good perk to have. This one's good if you're going to be doing a lot of solo conquesting and you're just going to stack up towns. But in general, that's kind of more an advanced thing. So as a beginner, I would probably focus on security or presence to get the security and the morale. Now, to get this bonus, you have to actually sit in the town. And then once you leave the town, that goes away. But it's really good to help towns build up some security in the meantime. So let's go for that. Now, what we need to do is head south because that's probably where we're going to get attacked. Actually, Melian Castle's getting attacked right now, so let's see if we can help there. There's 700 troops here. If there's a decent garrison, we could probably help. 250, and then with us, it's probably another 150, so about 400. Yeah, we could do this. This is doable. Like I said, try not to go anywhere over the 2-to-1 ratio. You don't want to be outnumbered by more than 2-to-1. So let's see what this looks like. Oh, nice. And there's actually another army coming, so if this army joins, for sure it's over. They're just completely dead. So at this point, it's now or never. Either we break in and solve this siege immediately before this guy comes, or we back off and this town or this castle falls. I think in this case, we're going to take the risk. Let's go ahead and break in to help. We're going to lose 33 troops. We're going to go for it though. And then we need to help and then auto resolve. So 3, yeah, see, we have more than 2-to-1. This should be no problem. Like I said, when you're on defense, you're going to get a very big bonus. You usually get 2 or 3-to-1 on the kill ratio, depending on how good a troops you have. Sometimes it could be even higher if you have the right army composition, but in this case, no big deal. You can see we pretty easily defended this. We only lost 13 people, and then we have a lot of prisoners we can release, and our charm is going to go right through the roof. We almost hit level 200 charm off of that. It's pretty wild. Let's go and recruit some people so that we don't want to have a big lack of troops here. Now, we do have some injured, so let's go ahead and wait inside while we can donate some troops back to our companion here as well. All right, this person is sieging us down. I don't know why. Yeah, this siege is not going to go through. Sometimes the AI does that, like they get stuck on a command and they don't change. There's no way they can win this. You know, we just won a, what was it, like a 2-to-1 ratio. Now we're basically the same as them. They're going to get smashed. You can see pretty easily defended. We lost another 11 troops. Really not a big deal. We got a bunch more people we can get back. So now we're over to level 200. So that's pretty much how you defend. You just need to keep an eye out, see what's being sieged. You can see Lavinia is being sieged now. We don't really have the troops to defend that though. So we're going to need to spend a little time recovering. Oh, we're getting attacked again. Yeah, this is what it's going to be. When you're defending, if you're already in the town, you do actually have to build siege engines yourself. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can see these little symbols on the town on top of the walls. If you click on it, you have the option to build catapults or ballista. Catapults are generally better for taking out siege equipment, and then ballistas are good for reducing their numbers, because anytime they get hit with a ballista, it has a pretty high chance of killing one of their troops. I think in this case, let's just go with catapults. Every time one of these siege engines is getting built, we're getting some engineering skill. You can see here we got 2 just for building one of these. We'll keep going. All right, they want to fight this. This is probably going to be a loss. I didn't really want to get stuck in here. We could have broken out earlier, but like I said, I think the guide's pretty much over. But let's see. We might be able to handle this. I don't know. And you can see we're getting about a 4-to-1 ratio right now, which is really good. Yeah, I think we can handle it. Yep, we're victory. So this just goes to show how strong breaking into settlements or castles and then auto-resolving, it is incredibly powerful. So if you're struggling to hold on to your fiefs, this is the absolute only way that I would recommend doing it. If we were to fight this in person, we would have lost it almost 100% guaranteed. So at this point, I would recommend once you reach Clan Tier 2, it probably makes sense to become a vassal. However, it usually makes sense to become a vassal when you have the option of getting a fief quickly. I don't really want any fiefs from Khazate. And the main reason is because it's really hard to defend over here. Their small parties are really difficult to defeat. They are very fast. And so it might be better to wait for another faction, maybe like the Aserai or another one of these Empire factions. So I think until then, if you're at war with somebody else other than Khazate, I would just go for it. Switch over to becoming a vassal and then do it. And the way you do that is you figure out where your emperor is, your king, whatever, and then you go to the keep or find him in the field and then you talk to them. So something I'd like to discuss, and then you would switch from being more than a mercenary. So this chat option, and then it'll have a bunch of chat. You just go through that. And that's how you'll go from being a mercenary to a vassal. Now, let's see. We can probably take more quests. We might as well do that since we're here. And really, I'll probably end up cutting most of this out because all we're waiting for is a different war other than Khazate. Like I said, we want to get into fights with minor nobles, but definitely not ones with, 50 or 60 horse archers. That's going to be a nightmare for us to take on. So we'll keep stacking up the cash. We'll probably buy another workshop here, and then we'll proceed that way. Yeah, if you come across minor factions like this, you outnumber them by a decent amount, I would 100% take the fight. You're going to take some losses. Oh, I lost sight of him. There he is. Yeah, this is a fight we can definitely win. We just need to catch them. So taking fights like this is going to do two things for us. Number one, it's going to give us a lot of renown, which we need. And number two, it's going to give us quite a bit of money too, just because the equipment that these guys drop is worth a lot. So taking fights like this is really good. Now, we do have a slight advantage here. So you could fight it in person if you want. They've got some cavalry and horse archers. I don't really feel like dealing with that right now, so I'm just going to auto-resolve. We'll take our lumps. However, before we do that, let's take a look. If you hover over send troops, you see cavalry gain a large bonus and horse archers gain a large bonus because we're in open plains. What we could do is we could bait them into the forest, and then we'll negate 100% of their bonus for that. Let's fight them out here. Oh, it's still in the plains. There we go. Now that we caught them in the forest, you see infantry gain a minor bonus, archers, cavalry and horse archers suffer some pretty big penalties. We are primarily infantry, so all of his ranged cavalry and horse archers are now going to do less damage to us. So by taking this battle here, waiting an extra, I don't know, was it about a half a day chasing him down, we should have a better outcome. There we go. And like I said, you're going to take losses on these auto resolves, but if you look here on the left, we're getting really good XP for it. So medicine and tactics both leveled up quite a bit. We got 30 influence for that, which is a huge amount of money. And we could, once again, we could take this guy and donate him, or if you're feeling a little lazy, just let him go. You'll get the charm XP right there. So we got 8 levels by just letting this guy go. And we probably want to let him go anyways because we'll want to hunt him down later and then capture him again. Now at this stage of the game, it probably makes sense to organize prisoners by tier. So up here, you can choose the filter type by tier. And then this arrow key means either you want low tier or high tier at the top. So we want the high tier at the top. And let's just take as many prisoners as we can fit. Because number one, they're worth a lot of money. And number two, they're going to be better in our party. And we get a huge amount of loot. A lot of upgrades here. So again, we're going to just keep doing this. We'll keep looking for those small groups to destroy. We'll look for quests to complete. We're going to sell loot. And then as soon as this kingdom stops fighting the Khazates and we go to war with somebody else, then we'll pick it back up again. And we'll switch from being a mercenary to a vassal. We came into another one of these noble groups. They have infantry and ranged. So I think in this case, or they have mostly ranged. Yeah, 30 ranged troops. We want to fight them in the woods. Like I said, I'm just going to end up auto-resolving this. So we'll push them back into the woods. The other thing that you can keep an eye out for, anybody that has prisoners in their party, you can see here this guy's got 20 prisoners. And if you hold Alt, it'll show you the stats for what they're carrying. 20 prisoners. Anytime we take out somebody that has prisoners, those prisoners now become recruitable into troops by us, and we don't have to convert them. We could just take them straight into our party. So even though we're going to take losses here, we're going to recoup most of them back by just taking those. So I'm just going to auto-resolve this. Only 15 losses. That's definitely acceptable. Like I said, we're going to get access to 20 troops here. So that just replaced pretty much all the losses that we took. And we're going to get access to all these high-tier troops as prisoners. And I forgot, we got plenty of money. Got sidetracked there. Let's go buy another workshop. We're going to do it the same town, Volstrom, because this is a pretty safe one to do it. We're just going to buy a tannery. And that still leaves us with 38k. That's plenty. This is a pretty important perk. Medicine level 75 basically applies your medicine skill to the enemy side, meaning you're going to get a lot more prisoners from battle, and you also get XP for each of those. You don't quite double your XP gain, but it's a significant increase. So getting to level 75 quickly is important. And then it also gives you a little bit of hit points. Now we're also at this point going to start looking for companions. So I would recommend at least taking one companion, even if they're not a good fit. Mostly what we're looking for down here is somebody that's got some skills in the intelligence categories. This guy's more of a combatant. He's not going to be that good at leading a party. So anybody that's got high intelligence is really good at leading a party because we can pump points into Steward, medicine, engineering, all those. This guy's not so much, but we still need somebody at least. So we'll take one. Like I said, he's not going to be the perfect fit, but it's okay. Here's another companion. Again, he's got mostly combat skills. He's not going to be that good. So we're going to pass on this one. You want to have at least one companion, even if they're not a good fit, because as soon as we become a vassal, we're going to want to start a second party. So anybody's better than nobody. even if they're not the right fit. And you can see here, our medicine skill really made a difference. We got 27 prisoners, and I think the enemy had like 30 something to start with. So most of these guys ended up becoming injured, which is perfect. We can now turn that quest in if we find one. That'll be good for another 10,000 or so. There you go. We turn in the max amount of prisoners that we had, 16 grand. So don't worry if you're losing a little bit of money, you can get it back pretty quickly. And it looks like they went to peace with Khazate, so that's good. They should start another war in the near future. We should start heading that way, and we'll start becoming a vassal and get our army ready. We have enough money we can afford to go negative for, I don't know, maybe a year or two. We should be fine. We'll have a fief before then. So what I would recommend before you switch over to becoming a vassal, make sure your wage should be probably close to 1,000 if you have enough troops. And then you want to make sure you have at least 50K, but I would probably be more comfortable with around 60 to 70K, something like that, with a couple workshops, of course. Because like I said, it's not a lot, but it does reduce the amount of drain that you take on each day. So why don't we head over to Onira? That's where Regea is. And in your case, whatever kingdom that you're trying to join, just double check and see where their king is. So for example, if we were following the north, Lucan would be at Majadan. You just click on their profile picture. Western Empire, Gyrios is near Neocoris. So pretty easy. All right, so let's go ahead and try it. We're going to go to Regea, and we're going to switch from being a mercenary to a vassal. There's a bunch of chat dialogue, just skip it. She does give you some free units. So we'll take 6 cavalry, some elite cavalry, and then a weapon. And while you're waiting for the next war to take off, just keep doing quests. There's not much else you can do. Now, as I mentioned before, as soon as you become a vassal, you should start another party. So I'll show you how to do that. Let's get our party up to maximum size first. Let's recruit up to the max, and then we'll start a new party, and then we'll need to recruit up to our new max. Oh, perfect timing. So we just got to this town. They have a scholar. Scholar always has good intelligence skill. So in this case, he's got engineering, but that means he should have at least 1 or 2 points into intelligence. That's a really good person to have. So we'll hire him. Now to start a new party, you're going to go to your clan screen, go to your parties tab up here at the top, and then create new party. And we want to select this guy, the scholar, not the swordsman, because like I said, the swordsman's not very good. Scholar should be very good at this though. Select him, and now we get to give him troops. We want to give him enough troops that we can call him into our army. So you need to have, I believe, 60%. So 60% of 50, whatever that ends up being, just give him like 50 troops. It's fine. We'll end up recruiting back up to our max anyway, so it's not really a big deal. So max, now very important, before you unpause, make sure you go to this button down here in the bottom right. This is these little 3 flags. So click that, and you can see in here, we can recruit a lot of different parties to our army, but we don't really want to do that. Let's just stick to the one that we created. So if you organize by cost, you can see you can go most expensive to least expensive. These guys cost nothing. That's our party that we just started. So when you hire your own clan party, you can form an army and it costs you absolutely nothing. So this is incredibly important. As soon as you reach clan tier 2, and if you're a vassal in a kingdom, you want to start a second party and you want to invite them into your army. Now, because we gave off a bunch of troops, we have to go around and recruit. There you go. So we are maxed out. We have 182 troops now. So pretty good considering we're still pretty early in the game, but we'll be able to boost this up even more as soon as we increase our steward skill a little higher. And then when we reach clan tier 3, we'll get even more. So now we're kind of like before, we're in a holding pattern. We're just waiting for these guys to declare war on somebody, and then we can go take a fief. So just make sure you're keeping your income up as high as you can. You can see our wages are really high, 1,500, and our workshop income is only 255. So it's not really that much. We will run out fairly soon. And just also remember, we're no longer mercenaries, so we're not converting influence into money. So we lose that source of income. But it still makes sense to continue to do quests, because any influence you gain, you will turn into whatever votes you want, so you can vote for fiefs and things like that. So it's still good to farm influence if you can. This is a pretty important perk here. Level 100 famous commander under leadership. This is going to give us more renown gain, so we'll get to the higher clan tiers faster. And also we get 200 XP for every recruit that we take on. The recruits need 300 XP to gain a level. So this is basically 2/3 of a level. Every 3 people that we hire, 2 of them will automatically have an upgrade, and then 1 of them will just need to get a little XP to do it. So you'll basically almost never have recruits anymore if you take this perk, which is kind of nice. But we didn't have to wait too long. It looks like there's a vote to declare on the Western Empire. So let's start heading over that way, and we'll see if we can catch anybody off guard. Oh, there you go. So war's already been declared. So no time to catch anybody. Now, we're not going to be doing any raiding now. At this point, we're just looking to fight noble parties. There's 3 things that we're going to do here. We're either going to fight small noble parties, we're going to help a siege happen, or we're going to help defend against a siege. So we need to stay in the area and kind of see what everybody's doing. Here's a nice small party if we can catch him, but he's way too fast. We hit level 16. That's the last point into engineering, and we also put another point into social. So from here on out, you can kind of put points wherever you want. I would recommend putting at least one more point into social so you can get 275 here and you can get 275 leadership. And then as far as focus points, whatever it is you want to focus on, I would do that. Any of the combat skills would be fine. Roguery is decent. You could also do scouting yourself if you don't want to have a companion do it. So there's some options there. But I'm going to leave that one up to you guys. This is the bulk of the build though. So you can see we've got armies coming down. Let's just kind of see where they're going to end up. So it looks like this castle is going to get sieged and most likely a town down here, although I'm not sure. Nope, they're all coming up here, I guess. And we'll keep picking off these little groups as we catch them. It's going to be hard to catch them though because our army is getting a bit bigger and these little guys are pretty fast. So let's see, it looks like they're all going to dogpile on this castle. Most likely this will get given to us. We don't really want it, but we'll take it in the interim. I'll kind of show you what happens. If you don't own any fiefs and you just joined a kingdom, they will most likely default to giving you the first fief. It's pretty standard. I would much rather have a town than a castle, but we'll see what happens. There's ways that we can swap these out. I'll show you. It's not too hard. But our job here, we don't want to spend any of our troops on sieging this. Taking towns is very, very costly to manpower. Defending is not so costly, so that's why we're going to save our troops to mostly defend rather than do offense. However, if this was a town that we really wanted, we would want to make sure that we jump in and help at least a little bit. So you'd probably wait till there's maybe 100 troops left in the defense. You can see right here, the defenders, they're going down every day that goes by because we're assaulting it. And then once it hits 100, we could just come right here, join, continue the siege, and then help. Now, I noticed there's a siege going on down here, Onika. That's an enemy sieging ours. We don't want to lose any land here, so let's see if we can help defend that. If it's too big, there may not be anything we can do about it, but let's see what happens. Oh yeah, that's way too much. There's 2,100 troops there. In general, when you're doing siege defense, you're going to want to look for like a 2-to-1 ratio at most, maybe a little bit higher, like 2.5 to 1. Anything higher than that, and you'll probably end up losing. So this is way out of whack. There's no way we can defend that. So we're going to let that fall. And then Thorios is going to fall for them. And then who knows what the AI is going to want to do after that. So Thorios, like I said, that one's done. It'll probably go to us, but we'll either give it to somebody else at some point, or I guess we'll hang on to it for now. Let's see. Yeah, see, if you don't own anything, they're going to want to give you something so that you at least have some kind of income. So we'll take it. I mean, it's our first fief. If you're brand new, this is exciting. You want to take whatever you can get. But as you get a little more comfortable, you're going to want to switch this out for towns, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's go into our fief. Couple options here. You can go into your dungeon. There's going to be a lot of prisoners here because there was a pretty big battle. Actually, they only dropped off nobles, which is fine. You could leave them here, or what I usually like to do is take them and donate them to somebody, because at least if they're going to sit in a dungeon, I'd rather them sit in somebody else's dungeon so we can get influence for donating and relations gain. We don't really have time to do that though. I guess we could do it at Sestadame. Yeah, we could do it. We could do it. If there's no close fiefs, I wouldn't want to do it, but this is pretty close. So we'll go to Sestadame, turn that in. Here we go. We actually have 3 people, so 27 influence. That's going to give us a big relations gain and a lot of charm. So almost 150 charm. Now, I don't know what the AI is doing. They're starting to split apart instead of sieging something. This is pretty standard AI. Let's go back to Thorios Castle and I'll show you how to manage the rest of it. So dungeon we covered. Manage garrison. This shows you all the troops that you have, and you can see a lot of troops were dropped off. In order for castles to be profitable, you cannot have this. This is too many troops. So what I would recommend doing is start to filter people out. Let's just take all the high tier. Again, we're going to organize by tier. We're going to get the highest ones at the top, and we're going to take as many as we can fit in our party. And then we're also going to check on our clan party. Let's see. He's got room for 11, so we can donate. We'll go ahead and give him some troops. That'll give us a little more space, and then we'll take more from here. There we go. So again, that's going to reduce our overall cost because these troops will eventually die, but then the ones in the garrison won't really get replaced that fast. So it'll reduce our overall overhead. It does weaken the fief a little bit, but I'm not too concerned about it because, like I said, we'll probably give this thing away anyways. Either we'll give it away so we can take a town, or we'll give it away when somebody tries to take it, and if we're going to end up losing it. The other thing, let's go to Manage Castle. This is probably where you'll spend most of your time. And you can see there's a lot of stuff that's queued up to be built. Over here on the right side, you can see what the order is. So we're building walls and then whatever these are in that order. We don't want to build anything right now. When you're in the middle of war, it's probably better just to turn off whatever's being built. So you can see if there's a lot of stuff being built, all you need to do is go to anything that is currently in the queue or being built. Do this one on the right. So this is 1, and then the plus sign, and that clears the queue. Now, when the queue is cleared, you automatically go down here to the daily defaults. And these give different bonuses. The only two that you're going to be focusing on for this guide are going to be Train Militia and Festival and Games. Don't worry about irrigation. Don't worry about housing. Train Militia are for castles. Festival and Games is for towns. And the reason that is Festival and Games increases loyalty. And if this number goes down below 25, you will actually lose the town. They will rebel. Castles don't rebel, so you don't have to worry about loyalty as much with castles, which is why I recommend putting on Train Militia, which means we'll actually get more defenders. And as I mentioned before, we're going to drain the garrison here, so we want to make sure we replace them with Militia, which they're not as good, but they're better than nothing, especially on an auto-resolve. They can be quite strong. So Festival and Games for towns, Train Militia for castles. Once we get past that, past this guide, I've got other videos you can watch to show how to actually manage these towns properly. But as a beginner, that's all you need to worry about. So we're good. We can leave this alone for a while. Let's go see where our people are going. Somebody's going to come siege this. I can almost guarantee it. And it looks like Onika did get lost. So let's follow these guys and see where they end up. We're not going to go too far from Thodios because like I said, they are for sure sending an army there to attack. And if we have enough troops to defend, we're going to want to get up there and do that. Oh boy, they got caught. Yeah, the AI is so bad, man. I don't get it. I don't know why they just walked right into them. It doesn't make sense. They should have been able to avoid that, but they got caught. Yeah, an army of like 400 troops can't outmaneuver 1,200 is kind of sad. So 1,200 is coming up this way. I don't think we can hold that. Thodios is going to fall for sure. So we've got a couple options here. I think the best option right now is to take all the garrison out and let's just replace the troops that we have. So I'm going to go over here to our scholars party. So he's capped out and we don't need to mess with his troops. Let's go ahead and adjust some of ours. So we want to put back in the garrison only the low tiers. So let's get rid of all our recruits, make sure that we're not over anything here. There we go. So we swapped out high tier for low tier. That'll help us out a bit. It'll make our wages more expensive, but it's not really a concern right now. Oh, interesting. They turned around. Yeah, they're trying to siege this down. It's going to most likely not fall before this guy comes and he's going to gobble this up. So this is the problem with the AI. It's really bad. Actually, where's the AI? Did they change their mind? They're going back up to siege. So as you can see, as a human player with a bunch of AI idiots, your job is mostly babysitting. Yeah, I don't know where that army went now. So we'll help siege this one. We might get this one as well. And we do show up on the list and we're at the top. So like I said, as long as you don't own a ton of fiefs, it's pretty easy to get fiefs. So we already got our second. We didn't really do that much. But again, the hard part, it's not so much getting it, but keeping it. So that's what I'm going to show you for this next phase. So again, we're going to come in here. We're going to turn off everything. So we do the number 1, the plus sign afterwards to get rid of it. That clears our queue and we could switch it to train militia. So we're going to have that. We also have a bunch of garrison troops here. So why don't we take everybody into our party? We'll get rid of the low tier first. They've got a prisoner here, and we're right next to a town, so why don't we just go donate her to Poros? It also helps getting prisoners off the front line, because if the enemy takes this castle back, that prisoner goes free, and they can go hire another army and do all that stuff. We don't want that, so let's go ahead and donate this lady, and we'll get some relations for it. So now we have 2 fiefs, and they're kind of a little bit farther apart from each other, so we're going to just sit in the middle right between these two, and as soon as something gets sieged, we're going to immediately go to help relieve that siege, or at least try to if we have enough troops. So let's just chill here in the forest. Yep, here he goes. So they siege Thorios. I knew that was coming. This might be the big one, and it is. 1,200. We have 180, or sorry, close to 200, and then 200 in our party, so that's 400. That means we could take on a party of up to about 800. So 1,200 or 1,300 is just a little bit outside of the range. I don't think that's going to work. We're going to have to let this go, which it's not a big deal. I'll show you what happens if you start losing a town. You're not going to want to hang on to it, because anytime you lose a fief, you lose relations with your king or queen, and then you also lose influence. I believe you lose influence, but anyways, it's not good to hold on to a fief when it's being taken. Like, there's nothing that's going to stop this. If we get in there, we're going to lose our troops. There's no army that's nearby that's going to be able to get there in time. So what we need to do is give this fief away and let somebody else hold on to it for the half day and then lose it themselves. So go to the kingdom tab right here, press K, or go to the kingdom tab, scroll towards the bottom, and then you should see it down here. Now this is Thorios, right? Yeah, Thorios Castle. So we're going to click on Thorios, and you can see here near the bottom it says give away. So we can just do this. We're going to give it back. And we could vote for somebody to get it. Again, I think I mentioned it before. If you vote with somebody, you're going to gain relations with them, and you're going to gain charm XP. Anybody that you did not vote for, they will lose a little bit of relations, but you gain more relations than you lose overall. So like if you gain 10 here, you'll only lose 1 and 1 here. So you'll like gain 10 and lose 2. Usually if you have a lot of influence, it's usually a good idea to make sure your relations are topped up. We've got 77 relations already with these people because we've donated so many prisoners. So it's not really a concern. Let's save up our influence just in case we need to vote for ourselves on a castle, or sorry, on a town later. So why don't we do that? We'll abstain. And like I said, that is no longer our fief. So we just gave it back to them. They're going to be the ones that get hit with the penalty when you lose the fief. And yeah, so let's just watch this and see where the army goes next. Every fight they do, it reduces the size of their army because sieges are extremely manpower intensive. So every time they siege, they're going to lose more and more. At some point, they're going to siege something that we can actually jump in, and then we will wipe out their entire army, and then we'll have control, pretty much the war in our favor at that point. So you can see they're going to end with about 800 troops. Roughly, and they took control of the fief. So it's gone, but like I said, it wasn't in our possession, so we're not going to get a hit or penalized for that. All right, here comes Garios. Not only do they lose troops in the fight, but they also put troops in the garrison, so their army is just getting weaker and weaker. Looks like they're going to head for our other fief down here, which might be okay. We might be able to defend this. I'm not positive. We could always bolster it up a little bit by grabbing troops and dropping them off. So let's go over there and do that. Now, we already know they're coming here, so let's just wait for them. Oh, maybe they're going somewhere else then. Oh, they went to Sestadame, I think. All right, let's go up there and defend that. So like I said, your main job here during these wars is to play defense up until the point where you can field a big enough army to go take stuff yourself. You're going to be a little ways off from that, though, so don't worry about it. Just play defense, help your kingdom out, bounce around, see where they're getting siege down, and see if you can break in and help. So in this case, 800 troops, and then there's another 275. That I think we can do. So if we add our numbers to theirs, and we're going to lose some troops by breaking in, but that's not really that big of a deal. We would lose maybe 20 to 30 troops. So let's just call this 160. So 160 plus the 275. So it's more than 400 troops, which means we have at least half of what they have. So we can handle this for sure. So let's get close by. They're going to keep recruiting people maybe. Oh, they're actually, there they go. All right, so we want to get in there quickly. You'll know the siege started because they're losing troops quickly. And then if you look at the garrison, there's some wounded troops. They're losing troops as well. So we're going to break in. It's going to cost us, like I said, 35 troops. That's about what I was expecting. So we'll take it. And then we're going to help Sestadame. And we have at least half, so we can easily send troops here. If you feel like fighting this, that's fine. It's a really fun battle to fight defensive sieges. But I'm just going to caution you, make a save file before you do, because while this seems like it should be an easy win, it's not guaranteed for sure. This is by no means an easy win if you fight it in person. If you auto resolve, it's pretty much guaranteed you're going to win. So we're going to go ahead and send troops. And you can see right here, we killed 732, they killed 231. And of those 231, only 117 were actually lost. The rest were injured. So we lost hardly anything. Our main party lost only 11 troops. This is such an easy way to take the enemy out of the battlefield, and you can actually have a big impact even though you have such a small party. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to play defense. We'll take 52 renown, 63 influence, so really good way. And again, we could let these people go if we want, or we can take them and donate them. I'm just going to let them go so I don't have to worry about it. There we go. We need a little bit of time to recover here, so why don't we go recruit some more troops? And Thorius was taken again. It's probably going to go to us. Yeah, it is. We don't really want it, but like I said, we'll take it. In the meantime, we can get some free troops from there. Actually, why don't we go there instead of recruiting fresh ones? We already know we're going to lose these guys in a siege anyway, so why not just take them out of the garrison? And then make sure that your clan party is topped off as well. So he's got full troops. We got full troops. We got too many, so we'll put the rest back in the garrison. And again, the AI is going to change your build order, so just cancel everything, put the militia back on, and then you should be good to go. Let's wait here, heal up our troops. You heal much faster inside a settlement. We'll take advantage of that. Now, like I said, the AI had, I don't know, was it about 2,000 troops? Now, after sieging 2 towns down and then losing a massive battle here, all their troops are wiped out. So there you have to go recruit again. It's going to buy us some time. And then the troops that come back are going to be lower tier, most likely. So after defeating 2 or 3 big armies from the AI, they pretty much have nothing left, and you can go on a siege and just wipe them out. But that's kind of how these wars should go if you're fighting it smart. You play defensive in the start if you have a smaller force. Take those easy defensive sieges, auto-resolve, and then you kind of bounce back and forth. Now, what I'd like to do is show how to get a town, so I'll probably cut the rest right now until we get to the point where we can actually take a town. I'm trying to see what these guys are doing. I don't know what the AI is. They're sending their army all over the place. Like I said, the Bannerlord AI is just not very strong. They are not smart at all. we could definitely catch that. Yeah, that's a really good fight because we're going to wipe their army off the field. That's kind of what all they had left. So let's go ahead and send troops. Take 6 losses. Now, we have quite a bit of loot on us, and our money is getting kind of low, although we are making money, so I'm not actually that worried about it. But let's get rid of this loot and see how much money we made, because we fought some really big battles, and we collected a massive amount of loot. We can sell prisoners for quite a bit. We're going to get rid of... Oh, we don't have any nobles, actually. So what we're going to want to do is make some money here. I think a lot of these guys... I would probably get rid of all prisoners lower than tier 4. And even in this case, we have a lot of prisoners, so let's get rid of the tier 4 as well, and just keep the tier 5 and tier 6. Here we go. And drum roll, we're going to make a massive amount of money from this. My guess is like 50 or 60k, 70, almost 80k. They actually don't have enough money to do all this, so we need to take some stuff back. So if you have more stuff to sell than they have to give, what you're going to want to do is maybe buy some food, anything that you're short on. And then what you can do is go one by one, these categories. Let's also not sell these horses because these are going to be used for upgrades later. Yeah, winning battles, like I said, you shouldn't have to buy loot ever again. You shouldn't have to buy horses. You shouldn't have to buy gear. You're just going to be flooded with stuff. So we're going to go one by one and sell everything in that category until they run out of money. So you can see right here, yeah, that's where they run out. We'll just buy more food then. There we go. So 61k. So we went from 30 grand up to almost 100, just like that. So even though we're not a mercenary anymore, we shouldn't have problems making money because our settlements. And even if we didn't have that, we would have battle loot from winning these massive battles against noble parties that have very, very expensive gear that they drop. Now, you'll also notice from time to time, you'll get these pop-ups. So this means you have somebody either in your own party or it's in one of your fiefs in one of the dungeons, and somebody's willing to pay a ransom to free them. So we'll take it. We'll take some money. That puts us over 100k. In general, just if you need the money, do it. If not, just let them sit in the dungeon, because when you free them, it means that they're going to have more people to form an army and go attack. So it keeps them off the battlefield for a little bit if they just rot in the dungeon. Here we go. We just got notice Thorios is being sieged, so we're going to run up there again. All right, this is a big army, actually. That's bigger than we can handle. Unfortunately, we're going to have to let it go again. So we'll wait for the siege to start, and then we'll give it away. There we go. It is in somebody else's hands now, so we at least won't get hit with that. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Somebody came. So there's enough troops to actually defend. We can go help them. Yeah, we can definitely wipe them out. So we just gave the fief away for free, but sometimes that happens. I didn't think they would actually dogpile, but sometimes that happens if the siege goes on long enough. The little parties will come up and it'll all add up pretty quickly. But not a big deal. Like I said, you don't really want to hold castles long term. You want to switch them over for towns when you can. Looks like there's sieging Thorios again. There's going to be enough people here. So the game crashed. Unfortunately, I had to reload, and I decided to go in the city this time. And we're fighting 3-1 outnumbered, but it looks like we're actually going to take this as a win. Like I said, when the enemy comes back after losing their initial army, they're mostly going to be lower tier troops. So you can probably bump that ratio up a little higher. But it looks like this is going to be a victory. We're going to lose only 10 people. So it's, 187 versus 1,000. So like a 5-to-1 ratio. The siege defense is so incredibly strong, and the AI is too stupid to know when they're beat, and they just keep going anyways. So here we go. We're just going to let everybody go so we can get a bunch of XP. We get free troops to replace our losses. And I just realized, or actually I didn't even realize, but we hit clan tier 3. That was incredibly fast. As you can see, the game picks up speed pretty fast once you get to that point where you can join a kingdom and forming your own army, especially when you could do the defensive sieges. Just the amount of renown and money you make from doing it is pretty wild. So once you get clan tier 3, this isn't supposed to be part of the guide, but we're here. We might as well just do it. Let's go ahead and form another party. We need somebody else to do it because I don't want our swordsmen to do it. Actually, no, it doesn't matter. We need to just do it. So what I'm going to do is take our garrison troops. We don't even have that many, actually. Let's go down and take the garrison from Onika. So we'll take all the garrison. We're going to go over here to create a new party. We're going to give this guy as many troops as he can hold, and then back to the garrison to put the rest back. And then don't forget to call him into your party. So the guy that costs 0, that's it. We're good to go. So now we just increased our strength to 280. And like I said, it's going to go even faster. The higher up you go, the more troops you're going to be able to hire. And especially if we spent time finding good companions, it would have made more sense. But that's all right. For beginner guide, this is more than enough. 280 troops is a lot. So let's see if we need to wait for somebody to siege a town down. So I don't know what Riga is doing here. It's the AI being the AI. So I'm going to probably just edit this out until we can swap for a town. And then we'll call this guide pretty much complete. Now, finally, somebody decided to siege a town down. So we're going to join the siege here. That'll help speed it up a little bit, and it makes it more likely that they'll actually do it. So what we're going to do in this case, we're going to make sure that this goes all the way through. So they'll probably want to build some siege engines first, and then they'll probably do the assault. Right, they don't seem to want to go. If they start building this front line, that means they don't feel confident to actually do the assault. So that's not a good thing. We have a pretty big advantage, but it looks like they don't think so. We're going to have to back out and defend this because we don't have any garrison in this. Here comes 1200 though. They're going to wipe that out. No problem. This army, as soon as they touch this town, that siege is going to go for sure. So what we're going to do is let's start prepping for it. Let's get in here and make sure that we're part of the siege because we want to make sure we get a bonus to that. And as soon as they touch, let's go ahead and pause right before they touch, and we need to give away our castles. So again, kind of what we saw earlier, it's a little risky because if the siege fails or something else happens, then we're not going to end up getting it. But let's go ahead and do that anyways. So we're going to come in here and find our fiefs and then just give them back. So Onika Castle and Thorios. And it says we can't do it during a siege, so we need to leave, come back here, and then give these both away. So again, I don't care who it goes to. Thorios, give away. And then we're going to want to join this guy and make sure that we are part of the siege when it happens. So there goes 2,000 troops. So we have a massive advantage now. This is like perfect scenario. You can see it doesn't always line up like this. Before we had to wait and that siege wasn't going to go. This Pregame would have just sat here for weeks and weeks until she ran out of food. But luckily somebody else came in to help. So let's just send troops. You could fight this. When it comes to sieges on offense, you always want to fight them in person to save your troops. Being as this is the end of the guide, I'm just going to auto-resolve. But when it comes to attacking, even, you know, we have a character that doesn't have any combat skills, so you're not really going to be commanding. You just want the fight to happen in person because the numbers are going to be more in your favor. But in terms of auto-resolving, it's always going to be better in defense because it's going to be in your favor that way, most of the time. So let's go ahead and auto-resolve this. We'll take our losses, and then I really hope they give us this town. They should, because like I said, we participated. We don't own any fiefs, and so we should be really high on the priority for this. Here's the vote, and it goes to us without any extra votes. So like I said, you can very easily change your castles for towns. Just make sure that you're in a commanding position when you're assaulting a town. Get rid of all of your current fiefs. Get rid of all those castles right before you actually assault the town, and then you should be good to go. So let's go ahead and abstain. We're going to get it, and then I'll show you what the difference is between the town and castles, and then we're going to call this guy done. Because you're officially in the mid-game. You own a town. You've got a pretty big army, and you got a lot of stuff to learn after this point, but you're at least at the part where you can have a lot of fun. You can make a big army and go cause some trouble. So in here, you got a few more options. You can go to the keep just like before, but you got different options here. You can manage the garrison from here. You have a stash if you want to put items in. Let's say you don't want to sell them, but you also don't want to carry them. You can put them in the stash. Garrisons works the same as the castle. You can pull people out if you want. I would probably maintain some garrison in a town. In a castle, you would probably want to pull most of them out, but in a town, it makes enough money there where they will mostly pay for themselves. You don't want to have your town weak. So I would probably leave that. And then coming back here to manage town, you'll see it's pretty much the same, but the buildings are slightly different. And again, for the purposes of this guide, turn off everything and just leave it on festival and games, especially if it's a town that's not your culture. Let's say we started as an empire person and we owned a town in Aserai or Khazate. We would actually have a loyalty debuff of -3, which is really bad. And you counteract that by leaving it on festival and games. So make sure you leave it on festival and games if it's not of your culture. Now, because we are of the same culture, we could still leave it and we'll get a good benefit from it, or we could start building some buildings. And I would highly recommend getting your fairgrounds leveled up first. So we'll do fairgrounds first. And you can see it's going to take 39 days to build if we do nothing else. However, I would probably recommend putting a few dinars in, and that's this reserve up here. It's going to cut that cost or the construction down by a massive amount. So we'll put 20K in. That should be enough for a while. So fairgrounds, that'll be built. This is going to increase our settlement loyalty permanently without having to leave it on festival and games. So you want to get this maxed out and then start expanding some of these other buildings. Actually, one final thing, if we can get it, no, we can't. If you had somebody, let's say you had a companion of the same culture or a spouse, this is a good time to pick up a spouse. We don't have a spouse, but if you had a wife and she was Empire culture, you could throw her in here as a governor. It'll give you a +1 loyalty to that. So that would help quite a bit. For the final build, your character should look something like this. Keep in mind you'll have plenty of focus points to spend after this, but if you're following this guide, you'll at least end up here at some point. Attribute points should go to intelligence first, then social next. The focus points should go to Steward first, then medicine, then leadership, charm, tactics, and finally engineering. And if you're not comfortable picking your own perks, I've included the full build, including picks beyond the scope of this guide. If you check the Notion page, the full build will be posted there as well in case that's easier to follow along with. I know this was a long guide, and I appreciate you sticking with it to the end. Hopefully this helps you cut the learning curve significantly, and you can start really enjoying the fun that Bannerlord has to offer. A quick shout out to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Check the link in the description if you're interested in getting 4 months free. Thanks as always to the YouTube members and Patreon supporters who financially support this channel. I really appreciate your help.